No, we're not. It says schedule. No, now we're live.
Hello, Facebook.
We're live on Facebook now.
Hello, Facebook.
Good morning, Facebook.
The heat is on the way, people.
I know. 80, mid-80s.
It's going to be hot again.
It was beautiful yesterday.
More and for current hours of
Is
operation.
it supposed to be hot again today?
Yeah.
Yes.
JR News. And now, here's Kevin Dietz.
From the great voice of the Great Lakes, this is Paul W. Smith on WJR, with Kevin Dietz filling in for Paul.
Good morning and welcome to the Paul W. Smith Show. Paul has the week off. Hopefully he is enjoying this gorgeous summer weather. The roundtable is here with me to help hold down the fort. Dave Rieger is in for Ann Thomas. Dave, how are you this morning?
I'm doing well. How are you, Kevin?
I'm doing good. I'm excited. It's going to be a beautiful day. Dana Clark's with us. How are you, Dana?
It's hump day.
There you go.
I'm doing
Right.
great.
Hard to not be in a good mood. Dana's got hump day covered.
That's right.
And Dick, how are you doing today, Dick?
I couldn't be better. 100%.
Dick's a little bit it's like a 7-second delay with Dick.
Right.
But Dick is 100% just 3 seconds after we ask.
Right.
It makes us feel good, like you're actually taking time to think about how you are, Dave. Like it's not just automatic. Dick, that's great. Well, guys, I want to start out with a little good news. Dick, you were talking about it in your newscast, but this COVID-19 vaccine by the biotech company Moderna is pretty exciting. All 45 patients who received it showed that they produced some antibodies, and they're going to move into that final stage and hope that maybe early next year we have a vaccine that thousands, if not hundreds of thousands or millions of people will start to be able to take. I just wonder when you hear news like that, I mean, it really made me perk up, and I just wonder if you feel like this is the beginning of the end of the COVID-19 crisis, or if you feel like this is just a little blip of news along the way in what's going to be a really, really long road. Dana, let's start with you. What do you think?
I don't think
I
this
think
is
the
a
road
little blip
is-
of news.
Okay, go ahead, Dick.
No, I don't think this is just a little blip. This is major stuff because now the Moderna vaccine goes on to the phase 3 trial. Thousands of people now are going to be given that vaccine, and all of the preliminary tests showed that it was as effective as you want one of these vaccines to be. And one of the important things, Kevin and Dana and Dave, is that this information comes from the New England Journal of Medicine. Now, for us laymen, what does that mean? Well, this is a peer-reviewed article, and so this means that it has been examined by the highest level of scientists as being accurate, and that is different than all of the other vaccines that we've heard of that all sound promising, but they haven't gone under the scrutiny that this Moderna vaccine has gone under. So this is on top of the pile for the vaccines that are down the pike.
That's right. And Dr. Fauci says it is absolutely good news no matter how you slice it. And when the New England Journal of Medicine is publishing the information, it's not just one of those studies like coffee is good, coffee is bad. It means it's been looked at and they have real hope for what's happening.
It's not Wallet Hub.
Exactly. All right. We'll be right back with more of the Paul W. Smith after this. Let's check weather and traffic with Dana Clark.
This report is sponsored by LifeLock. If you're only monitoring your credit to help protect your identity, you could miss certain threats, like your info for sale on the dark web. Good thing there's LifeLock Identity Theft Protection. Get LifeLock now and save more during their special summer sale. Go to LifeLock.com. Use promo code RISK. Sale ends July 20th.
Traffic First also sponsored by the Restore Wellness Center. Tired of dealing with nagging body pain, joint swelling, tendinitis, neuropathy, and chronic pain? The Restore Wellness Center will reduce or eliminate the pain completely. Reserve your appointment today at the state's best non-invasive laser therapy treatment center. Call 800-935-5959 in Brighton, Shelby, and Bloomfield, or restorewellnesscenter.com. Accident-free to kick off your hump day commute. Looking at construction in Berkeley, 12-mile both directions, eastbound and westbound between Greenfield and Coolidge. Construction has that roadway reduced to just one lane. That's scheduled through September. Now, WJR Weather First from the Weather Channel, sponsored by Guernsey Farms Dairy. Celebrate 80 years with Guernsey this summer at your local grocer. From their award-winning milk, ice cream, and lemonade, they are a true Michigan summer tradition. Guernsey is excited to announce their newly remodeled restaurant in Northville is now open Wednesday through Sunday. For more info, visit GuernseyFarmsDairy.com. That's GuernseyFarmsDairy.com.
Pretty good looking day today, but rain coming in tonight, probably lasting in through at least a part of tomorrow. Clouds and sunshine around this morning. Clouds and sun this afternoon. High 89. Tonight, rain after midnight, 71 the low. Tomorrow, some scattered showers and thunderstorms with a high near 84. From a Weather Channel, I'm meteorologist Ray Staging on News Talk 760 WJR.
It's 5:44 on Wednesday, July 15th. Let's check in with Rush Limbaugh.
Last Saturday, 2 police officers in McAllen, Texas, responded to a domestic dispute call. Both the officers were ambushed and murdered by the suspect, who then took his own life. One of the slain officers, Ismael Chavez, leaves an 18-year-old daughter, Savannah Chavez. She posted an emotional tribute to her dad on social media, praising him as a hero who died doing the job he loved. She said that words could not describe her pain. She wrote that she would miss her dad very much, but she was glad that he was at peace. She closed with the words, "Blue Lives Matter." And within minutes, the ugliness of social media reared its hateful head. The grieving 18-year-old was attacked as a racist for saying Blue Lives Matter. She was told that her father had a choice in becoming a cop, as if that justified his murder. Now, 2 things. First, the left wants to send social workers instead of police to domestic disturbances like this. Well, that's not going to end well. Second, the American left, these heartless liberals, will not even respect the feelings of a teenage girl who just lost her father. Vile, bitter, politically inspired hatred's all that counts in their world. Savannah Chavez's grief doesn't matter to them at all. And there's probably only 10 or 12 of them. That's the thing about this, making themselves look like tens of thousands. You know, the truth is, no lives of any color really matter to these people, and they shouldn't matter to us because they're non-entities. Who are they? We don't even know. Screw them.
Rush Limbaugh, noon to 3 today, right here on WJR.
We got a lot of Facebookers from all over this morning, a lot from Metro Detroit and from around the country, some from up north. We got those people checking in from Florida, all over the place. Good morning, everybody.
Good morning from Hawaii. Hi, Emily.
Yeah.
How are you? Dave says he's checking in from Tallahassee.
I know he's done with the virus, but
He's
today,
over it. Can we possibly ignore it for one day?
We can for one day, but not today. We did.
Not today.
We did it for the Rocket Mortgage Classic Day.
We have to schedule that in. That has to be a schedule.
Maybe a Friday we can.
Hi, Maria and Patrick and Clay.
I'm not sure you can. I'm not sure down in Tallahassee you can possible to ignore the virus for one day.
Yeah, Florida.
Even for 5 minutes, maybe. Not
right.
Even.
It's Florida's had it tough. They've had it tough for sure.
Indianapolis checking in.
Nice. Got people from all over that place.
Anyone buying the treasure hunt ticket from the Michigan jeweler? What is that, Patrick?
Sounds like that. Sounds like that art scam up in Traverse City from last week.
Right. Well, it's tax day. I guess we can talk about that, huh?
Well, that sounds fun.
Well, yeah,
that's not fun either.
I got to wait in line at the post office yesterday for
really?
quite a long while. Yeah. And you would think that people would know, and they were all like, "Why is the line so long? What's going on?" And
Nothing.
It's like you don't know that tax day is tomorrow,
Right.
and they're only allowing 5 people in the post office at one time. So
Right.
so the line's wrapped around the building outside.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Michigan jeweler closing down buried treasure throughout Michigan. Okay.
Okay. So
Yeah.
interesting.
Happy hump day, Jim. My fave day of the week. Well, Friday actually, but
Saturday's not bad.
Yeah, Saturday's real good. Saturday's way up there.
I mean, if we're voting.
Yeah, Saturday is
Do you
really high on the list.
Do you count when you're halfway through the show on Wednesday as your week is half over? Do you break it right down to the work
I
week?
should start doing that.
I don't know exactly what time that'd be in our 3.5 hour show.
Right.
And then tomorrow,
no.
And then tomorrow is what is it? Friday Eve or whatever you call it.
Now back to more Paul W. Smith on WJR. Once again substituting, here's Kevin Dietz.
During the break, we were talking a little bit about tax day. Usually that's April 15th. That just is etched in your brain. But July 15th is the date this year, today, to make sure you get your taxes in. The gang is all here. Dick Hafner, Dave Rieger, and Dana Clark. Dave, you said you were at the post office yesterday. What were you seeing out there?
I was seeing a long line around the building and people not happy about being in this long line and not knowing why there was a long line. But obviously with tax day, what do you call this? Do you call this tax day the COVID-19 tax day? I don't know. Is today. So I'm sure that it's going to be even worse today.
Dave, we were trying to help our one friend out and not talk about COVID for one segment of one show for one day, and now you got us at COVID tax day.
Right. I mean, I don't know what else to call it. I mean, it's not extended tax day. It's special tax day. It's COVID. It's COVID. It's COVID.
It's Christmas in July. That's what it is.
Right. Yeah. Right.
And Dana, did you take advantage of the extension for the virus? Did you wait to do your taxes?
My taxes have been done since February.
Since 2 years ago?
Right. I'm 2 years ahead. Got to get that money back. Yeah, we always go by March at least. Yeah. So they were already done before, everything got changed. So done, money back.
Done. Nice. Cool. Nice. Dick, are you in early, or are you one of those people that looks for an extension even after an extension?
Taxes? What are those?
He's marching. Nick was at the Boston Tea Party.
On this.
Oh boy.
Yeah,
mine were done in February, just like Dana.
Yeah.
But can you do an extension on this day, right? Though, right?
Yes.
If you had to.
Sure.
What does that go to? What's the extension till?
Isn't that October?
Yeah.
Is it October or something?
It's the same number of days as it would have been in April. Everything matches up.
Everything just got forwarded. Okay.
Yeah, they don't. If the government has to pay you, they don't mind at all if you're taking extensions. If you have to pay them,
right?
They're
they
looking
still
at things
want their money
a little different, especially this year. Governments, states, everybody's just really hurting for money. I mean, there's just no income tax coming in because everybody stayed home for 3 months. Did you guys see that story in Detroit on the casinos? Typically each casino does $1 million a day in Detroit, and the city relies on those taxes. That money has not been coming in, and now everybody has to figure out what they're going to do with these hugely reduced budgets. It's the crunch is just beginning. We haven't even begun to see some of the pain of this whole COVID situation as government starts to figure out how much money they have to spend or how little money they have to spend. We're going to see things like delays in garbage pickup. Some communities, the mail is coming every other day already. Have you guys noticed any services changing yet because of COVID or budgets?
Mm-hmm. The mail in my community, I think it switched to every other day. And then you see the poor, I don't know what's the proper PC term, mail carrier, working until 7 or 8 o'clock, at night, trying to catch up with delivering the mail.
I've noticed that the mail sometimes comes at 8 o'clock at night, and I'm like, did they just go home for a long break because it's summer?
I think they're backed up.
I think they're backed up too, and they're on the weekends. I know they deliver a lot of those Amazon packages too. The Amazon trucks don't come on the weekends, and so the mail carriers are carrying those too, and they're having a hard time keeping staff too. A lot of people don't feel safe. And Dick, you're talking about hazard pay for teachers, and a lot of people are talking about hazard pay. And that's I think that's interesting.
I don't know how many people are really getting hazard pay. It's been discussed for months. Do you know anyone who's getting hazard pay?
We have a couple of guests that are coming on today. One is going to talk about how they got hazard pay for more first responders in rural communities, and they worked to get that worked out to help the first responders in rural communities. And another guest is going to be talking about schools and how kids are such a low risk, and not only are they a low risk of catching COVID, but they're a very, very low risk of being able to give COVID to somebody else, to an adult. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out with the teachers union, who says they want hazard pay for teachers who are in school, where this doctor says that they're in danger of giving it to each other, adults to adults, but there's very low risk of kids actually passing COVID on to adults, which I had not heard before. So I'm kind of interested to hear from him.
Oh yeah, I've heard of that and read about that phenomenon. I think scientifically that's a really interesting subject. Why are kids much less likely to get the coronavirus and let alone pass it along? It seems that kids almost have an immunity to this.
I heard a report, I think it's their lungs, something about their lungs. Don't quote me. I just briefly heard something the other day, and I can't even remember where it was from, Dick, but I think it has to do with their lung capacity.
The doctor said that the lung capacity, the small lungs, is one of the reasons they don't give it to other people, and they don't have these big coughs that adults have to get droplets outflowing. So, but these seemingly super resistance kids have to the COVID-19 is really interesting, and we'll ask Dr. Rafai about that when he comes on later in the show. It's interesting for sure. I'm looking forward to talking about that and the hazard pay. I think a lot of people do deserve hazard pay. I really do.
In the meantime, anybody who hasn't done their taxes yet, contact the tax attorney that Dana and I have, Swifty Lazar. He's really good.
He's fast, but not always accurate.
Well, he's fast.
Guaranteed a refund.
Guaranteed a refund until the federal government knocks on your door. Yeah,
right.
All right. You're listening to the Paul W. Smith Show. We'll be back in more. Let's check in with traffic and weather and Dana Clark.
This report is sponsored by LifeLock. If you're only monitoring your credit to help protect your identity, you could miss certain threats, like your info for sale on the dark web. Good thing there's LifeLock Identity Theft Protection. Get LifeLock now and save more during their special summer sale. Go to LifeLock.com. Use promo code RISK. Sale ends July 20th.
Well, we are still accident-free, Kevin, just looking at construction along 7 Mile, both directions, eastbound and westbound between Outer Drive and Wyoming. That road reduced to just 1 lane. That's scheduled through December. Also, construction 2 lanes closed along 8 Mile westbound at 94. Those right 2 lanes are shut down through July 20th. Now, WJR weather first from the Weather Channel. The Heat and humidity is kicking in today. Mainly sunny to start, then a few afternoon clouds. Humidity at 59%, a high of 89 today. Tonight, partly cloudy. Then we'll see some occasional showers, heavy rain, really especially after midnight. So 72 for the overnight low. Tomorrow on Thursday, some clouds and showers, scattered thunderstorms. Storms may contain those gusty winds, a high of 80 degrees, but the humidity at 80%. On Friday, a little bit better. It's going to remain hot, 89 under sunny skies, humidity at 62%. But then by Sunday, we're up into the upper 90s and that humidity is back. Currently clear skies, 69 degrees. I'm Dana Clark, WJR News with Dick Hafner in about 2 minutes.
Couple things that I've noticed. One is at both Costco and Sam's, they're having a can shortage. So you can't find like Coke or Pepsi, Diet Coke in the cans.
Really?
There was beer, but when I was talking to the employees, they were like, there's a can shortage. And I wonder why there's a can shortage.
I don't know.
I'm not sure why.
We figured out the coin shortage earlier in the month that nobody's bringing their coins out and about to turn them in, and all the stores are having trouble. They won't even let you put dollars into the self-check because they don't have coins to take it out. They're just taking credit cards only.
Right.
The can shortage.
But I don't know why there's a can shortage.
The Google team.
It can't be because they're not accepting cans. I don't know. That seems to, that long stretch where you couldn't take any cans back.
Yeah.
Return. But that shouldn't have anything to do with it. I don't know. The cans, the coins,
This here, over the past several months, consumers stocked up on various supplies. Temporary shortages have plagued the market. Now the lockdown has claimed its latest victim, aluminum cans. Can makers have seen a significant increase in demand over the past several months and are struggling to keep up. This has reportedly caused shortages of popular soda brands in some areas.
Yeah. Even my brother, who went to try to buy a set of new irons, new golf clubs. They had he tried them out. He liked them. Can't get them.
Really?
The stores don't have them. They don't know when they're going to get them in. Couldn't get the set that he wanted.
Well,
they wouldn't even sell him the demo model.
Oh, really?
Yeah. He's like, I'll buy the demo set. They won't even do that.
Yeah, so they say that people were stocking up on canned soda, and it was up 30%. But I don't know if it's because stuff's not getting returned that they can't keep the flow going, or if just people hoarded it and it's taken a while to catch up to produce more.
It's just very weird.
Oh, Don says can shortage is due to aluminum shortage due to the stoppage on returnables. Mm-hmm.
I mean, that would make sense. Mm-hmm. Although the returnables, the lines that you have to wait in to return your cans too are kind of obnoxious too. So,
yeah, I imagine seeing a couple of empty bottles going flying and people getting frustrated in that line. Clay has about 42 liters in his trunk of Dr. Pepper. Uh-oh. Man, I haven't had a Dr. Pepper and I can't tell you how long.
I know that the Kroger by my house, they closed one entrance. That entrance is just for bottle returns.
Oh, okay.
And the other entrance is for the people to go in and out. And
that's smart.
And they also sometimes you have to wait in line because they have the store manager out counting people in. So they only want so many people in the store at one time. Mm-hmm. So between the one entrance just for cans, and you got a line for that, and then the line to get into the store, it's a little crazy.
You can go during the senior time. Oh, you're too young, right?
No, that's too young. I'm too young to go on during the senior time. I can't pass.
Can't pass?
No.
Or you can donate. Patrick says he donated his to local groups.
A lot of people are doing that.
Yeah, I heard about that. Yeah.
They'll store them up and hold on to them until they can get them returned. But sounds like if you drink a unique brand of pop, you may be out of luck for a while until those cans get returned.
Well, they still have the plastic cans. You can still get the 2 liters. You could go get the plastic bottles. But for some reason the cans are there's a shortage on the cans. It's very weird. But I saw plenty of beer there. Now a lot of the beer might have been in bottles.
Don't mess with the beer.
Right. A lot of the beer might have been in bottles, but I don't know if people were hoarding beer as much as they were hoarding pop maybe during the pandemic time. I don't know. That we're still in, I guess. But not as bad as it used to be. But hopefully not getting back. You know, you were talking, Kevin, about the doctor that we're going to have on. We're also going to have on another doctor to talk about the shortage in vaccines right now today.
For kids or for everybody?
For kids.
Yeah, that they're not getting them, or that there's not enough for them.
No, they're not getting them.
Yeah, they're not getting
them. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, no one wants to risk going to the doctor.
Right.
That's someone else was saying that you don't hear about everybody having heart attacks. People are not going to the hospital because they're afraid of COVID and they're passing away at home.
Right.
That's dangerous.
Yeah.
Definitely, for sure.
It's scary though. I have a relative who had open heart surgery yesterday, and you know, you can't help worry a little bit about. You always worry about infection. That's one of the biggest concerns, you know, when you have a surgery, and with COVID and everything else, it's in your mind. It's got to have an emotional impact on all of us that we don't even probably realize. Well, maybe we'll realize it in this segment when we talk a little bit more about the mask wars that Dick was talking about, that stabbing up there. There was another person charged with he didn't wear a mask and he went and wiped his nose on a store clerk's sleeve.
Oh,
He was charged. I mean, getting confrontational about masks. I just like if you're concerned about someone not having a mask, I'm the kind of person who's just going to walk the other way and not get within 6 feet of them. You know, I'm not going to go demand they mask up. But people are definitely confronting people.
Well, now, I mean, I was I went to Walmart yesterday, and there was a lady outside whose sole job was to monitor that and make sure that everybody was wearing a mask, and she was sending people away. And then these people were like, what do you mean you have to wear a mask? They're like, what are you talking about? We have no, that's like, do people not know what's going on? I don't understand.
It's hard. They put that on the businesses though, too, you know, so some, you know, young person is out front of the store telling people they can't come in.
From the great voice of the Great Lakes, this is Paul W. Smith on WJR with Kevin Dietz filling in for Paul.
Welcome back to the Paul W. Smith Show on July 15th. It's Wednesday, and it's going to be a gorgeous day. The team is here. Dave Rieger, Dana Clark, Dick Hafner. Good morning, everybody.
It's hump day.
Yeah, Dana is in a good mood. We're all in a good mood today.
I practice all week for that.
I like
it. Just don't know.
You got the hump day, and then you got the Friday. You got two out of our 5 days covered. We're gonna have to get the rest of the team to work on Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday.
Right.
You know, a little bit of good news out there in the coronavirus world. The Michigan nursing home residents had their first in-person visits in months. I don't know if you saw this story, but the restrictions are being eased, and in-person visits are now allowed for residents who are in serious or critical condition or in hospice care. And so some family members and friends are able to visit facilities or to assist residents with their daily living. And the first couple were birthday parties. So they had some birthday parties in senior facilities. And emotionally, for me, that's just good to see. I mean, these pictures of people with their faces plastered against the windows, you know, and their elderly loved ones trying to hear through the window as they have a conversation just break my heart, you know. It just seems that these seniors to be isolated just seems as painful as getting sick almost, you know.
That's good news.
Let's hope that the curve doesn't start going the other way, and these loosenings of all these restrictions have to be reversed.
Yeah. And they may be. They may start up and see that it's creating a problem and step back. But it makes you think. I mean, do you see people in your own family, whether they're in a facility or not, if they're elderly? You know, yesterday was my parents' 64th wedding anniversary. You know, and typically you'd stop by and drop off some flowers and give them a hug and all that. But you know, they're in their 80s, and you want to limit the amount of exposure that they have, you know, and it makes you think about in your daily living when do you feel comfortable going to see elderly people, especially if you're out and about a little bit, as a lot of us are.
I bet the last few months have been the toughest on your mom. So happy anniversary in all the 64 years. Wow, that's wonderful.
I'm sure there are some tougher quarters in the 64 years. They're raising 7 kids, I'm sure.
Yeah. Oh, goodness.
I'm sure there was plenty. Dick, I saw on your newscast, I wanted to talk a little bit about this mask situation. It's been in effect. This is day 3 of the mandatory masks in businesses, and I've seen signs everywhere I've gone that say no mask, no service is what I'm mostly seeing out there. But there's been some confrontations. There was a case in Genesee County where a man went into a store, and they said, you need a mask or you can't be in here. And he walked up to the clerk and rubbed his nose right on her shirt sleeve and said, how about I use your shirt sleeve as a mask? And the police got involved, and he was charged. His attorney said he was kidding, but nobody thought it was very funny. And so he had a little legal problem, but then you're reporting, a death overnight up in
right.
Tell us a little bit about that story. How that started again with just somebody not wearing a mask.
That was in Grand Ledge, a confrontation between 2 people in a party store, a convenience store. One man wouldn't wear a mask. The other man said, "You've got to wear the mask." They got into a fracas, and there was a stabbing. And the man who refused to wear the mask took off. He's caught him. He, according to the police, in Ingham County, he went after the police with the knife. A female officer was his target, and she pulled her gun and shot him and killed him. There's a fatality, a police-involved shooting involving a mask. So we're only a couple days into this heightened mask rule imposed by the governor, and we've already seen a police-involved death on this.
So this was the older man had a mask on, and he was talking to a younger man in his 40s, right? The man in his 40s did not have the mask, right. And the older man in his 70s was saying, you need to have a mask, and there's some back and forth there. And so the 44-year-old, I believe you reported, he actually pulled out a knife of some sort and stabbed the 70-year-old?
And stabbed the elderly man who is in the hospital. I believe he's recovering, but we don't have a condition on him. In Wayne County, Sheriff Napoleon has said that we will enforce the mask rule. So Sheriff Napoleon is something a bit different than Sheriff Wickersham, who was on your show yesterday explaining what was going on.
Yeah, I'm okay with law enforcement enforcing the mask rule if they want to. It's when citizens are self-enforcing it or trying to enforce it that you get into problems. You must see people out and about without masks. Do you confront them? Do you shake your finger at them? Do you walk the other way? What do you guys do?
I just give them the evil look, like.
I'm getting my mask right now, Dana. Don't give me that evil look.
Over the weekend, I went into a Meijer store near my home, and a man walked into this. Everyone had masks that I saw, except a man who had walked in just after I did, a big guy with, it looked like he had an attitude on his face. He did not have a mask, and he looked like he was flaunting not having a mask. He looked at me directly. I looked at him. We didn't say anything, but the message was clear. I looked at him and gave him a dirty look, and he gave me a dirty look back. The store employee that I saw nearby didn't notice this. And I don't know whether he noticed at all by store employees. He went through and apparently did his shopping, no mask, and no one mentioned it to him.
And if you reported it, Dick, to the store, who would they send over? Would they send a manager over, or would some 18-year-old kid be forced to go over and try and convince this person to put a mask on? It's really a difficult situation, and like you said, this is day 3. We're already seeing some serious confrontations, even a death. This is something I think we're going to have to deal with. It's something you want to think about before you go out, I guess. What are you going to do when you see someone without a mask? And if you forget a mask, do you sneak into the store and try and get your purchase, or do you go home and get your mask because you forgot it? Definitely something to think about before you're in the heat of the moment. You're listening to the Paul W. Smith Show. We'll be back with more right after a quick break for traffic and weather and Dana Clark.
This report is sponsored by LifeLock. If you're only monitoring your credit to help protect your identity, you could miss certain threats, like your info for sale on the dark web. Good thing there's LifeLock Identity Theft Protection. Get LifeLock now and save more during their special summer sale. Go to LifeLock.com. Use promo code RISK. Sale ends July 20th.
Kevin, we do have an accident reported along 275 northbound at 7 Mile. This collision is blocking the right shoulder, and now seeing a 30-minute delay for trucks across the Blue Water Bridge westbound between Canada and the U.S. Now, WJR weather first from the Weather Channel.
In good shape today, but rain rolling in later tonight. A few clouds around this morning. Sunshine and a few clouds this afternoon, up to 89. That rain starts coming in after midnight tonight. 71 degrees, maybe a quarter of an inch of rain. Some scattered showers and thunderstorms tomorrow, high 84. From the Weather Channel, I'm meteorologist Ray State about News Talk 760 WJR.
I don't necessarily know if I would want to go and confront somebody who wasn't wearing a mask. It could turn ugly fairly quickly.
Yes.
I mean, if I'm wearing my mask, then I don't know, I don't know if it's my spot to go and tell somebody else that they need to put their mask on. But I think that the employees who work at the store are in a worse position, because you might be the one who's got to be put outside. Like I saw a lady at Walmart, and she was like, all right, you can't come in. And they got to deal with that situation, and it could get ugly, and they could escalate.
Oh yeah, it's gonna get ugly.
But I bet you know some people who would confront somebody, even if you wouldn't confront someone. I bet you know
I do.
Who has the personality where they would confront somebody, and that's what I think is happening all over the place. I think people are confronting them, which is tough.
And then you might have the same personality of the person who might confront somebody to say that they should wear a mask, who says, I don't have to wear a mask because it's my right not to wear a mask. And then there was the story, the Facebook post that I saw about a retailer who had a sign that said, you can come in here without a mask if you can't medically wear a mask. And it's against HIPAA law for us to ask you what your condition is. So we're going to assume that you medically can't wear a mask. We welcome you inside. And how is that going to go along with the people that are following the order, that are wearing masks, that are going inside? So that brings up more problems.
Yep. You see that comment from Don?
Yeah.
People have medical reasons.
Yeah.
Mind your own bleepity bleep business, he said.
Well, that's always like, back, people used to confront people who park in the handicapped parking spots. And it's like, well, you don't know.
Right.
Now back to more Paul W. Smith on WJR. Once again, substituting, here's Kevin Dietz.
Welcome back to the Paul W. Smith Show. It is Wednesday, July 15th. The team is here. How you guys doing? Dave Rieger, Dick Hafner, Dana Clark are with us. How are you guys?
Good morning. It's hump day.
It's hump day.
Tax day.
Tax day. Did you guys know there's an election in less than a week, a primary here in Michigan, or in less than 2 weeks? It's coming up.
Yes,
It's right around the corner. It seems like we talked politics every day for 4 years, and then the virus came around, and politics got just pushed off the table for a lot of the conversation. But it is coming, and I saw a poll that said they checked to see how Kanye West was doing in his bid to become president. And, they said in the first national poll, I saw this on thehill.com, so take it for what it's worth, but he was getting 2% of the vote in the new national poll. I don't know if that surprises any of you guys, or if you think 2% is enough to move the needle in a really close election, if that 2% helps one candidate over the other. Dick, what do you think on the Kanye West candidacy?
Well, you got to start somewhere.
2% is more than we have, right? Dana, is this a attention grabber? Is it
Kanye.
part of the Kardashian plan?
Kanye.
Kanye
Just
has
stop.
all the attention and money anyway, right?
Continue your Sunday services, which have been very good and very positive. I understand you want to get involved, and that's wonderful. Continue to do those things. Don't take votes for no reason. There is no possible way that you are going to win. First of all, you waited too late, okay? Second of all, nobody can take you seriously. At least I don't. And I could be wrong, but I think you're just trying to get attention, man. And it's just stop. Go out with Kim. Get some ice cream with the kids or something. Like buy your house in Wyoming. You have so many other positive things that you can do besides doing this. But it's a free country, right, Dick?
Dana, Dave Rieger.
Yeah, well, Kevin, you're asking
manager.
a serious question here. You're asking if the 2%, if Kanye West in November was still running and actually got 2% of the vote, who would he be taking that away from?
Exactly.
And would that swing the election? In a close election, 2% is big.
I think he's trying to take votes from, I think he's teaming up with Trump. Remember, he was kind of a Trump supporter, and I don't know what he's running on. But if you take votes from the Democrats, then that helps Trump. I think this is a ploy.
And 2% is a real number in Michigan. Remember, Donald Trump won by 10,000 votes in a state of 10 million people. So there is a real concern. Now, I don't know if he'll still be around come election day or not, but if he is, or if someone else jumps in, that's been going on for 100 years or longer in politics, where somebody runs and then they try and get somebody else to run who will siphon off some of their competitors' votes. And so that's not new, but it's interesting. I don't know what I thought his first numbers would be, but when I saw 2%, I didn't just laugh it off like nobody cares. I thought 2% at some point that number is going to mean something, and it could be there already. So that's interesting. Another political story. It's a story I saw that it made me think of politics. Was Supreme Court Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg was hospitalized again with infection, and I just wonder if you guys, how much thought you put into who's going to be the president and who's going to name Supreme Court justices, because whoever wins the next 4 years, they're going to name a new Supreme Court justice for sure, at least one. And I just wonder if that's part of your equation, or if that just goes along with what you're thinking. Dave, let's hear from you. We haven't heard from you in a minute.
No, not really. It doesn't really affect on who I would vote for as far as the Supreme Court justice. But it's funny because my cousin, when she had her bat mitzvah, she belonged to the Birmingham Temple, and the way they did it was they had to write about their hero, and her hero was Ruth Bader Ginsburg. So whenever I hear that name, it takes me back to that time where my cousin wrote a whole big, a story about her hero, Ruth Bader Ginsburg. It's just funny that I always, every time I hear that name, but it doesn't affect who I'm going to vote for and who they might choose for the Supreme Court justice. Not at all.
Dick, what do you think? Obviously, the Supreme Court really is as or more important than the president. They're the ones who decide what the law of the land is. How big of a deal is it for you?
Yeah. Well, for a lot of people, I think they recognize that the Supreme Court is supremely important in the role of the president. And don't you think that a lot of people believe perhaps that that's the most important reason to vote for one of the candidates? They know that the president appoints the Supreme Court justices.
Yeah, Dana, you want to
Yes.
weigh in? Obviously, there's huge issues that impact everybody. A lot of people do vote for singular reasons, and many of those singular reasons are determined more by the Supreme Court than a president.
Yes, and I guess that was a good point, Kevin, because I guess we should be thinking of that as well. As you mentioned, we kind of just think of the whole picture, just voting for the president, but there are a lot of decisions, obviously, that he makes, and that's a big decision. And so I guess we need to keep that in mind too when we are casting our vote, as well as for our local politicians that run, because they affect a lot of things too. It's not just the presidency, it's other areas that you mentioned. But as I said yesterday, just make sure you get registered, make sure you vote, and do your research too. Don't just pick someone.
Important thing though, once the Supreme Court justice is appointed to the court,
that's
that
forever.
person is free as a bird then to decide to do, and it's almost impossible to predict whether they will toe the party line that the president, whoever was the president that appointed them, put them on the court to do.
I think we've seen that lately, Dick, for sure. Where they kind of just they kind of do what they want. You can't necessarily predict how they're going to rule.
No, and they're there for life. So both President Trump and Joe Biden spoke yesterday. Did you guys catch any of them or either of them speaking? I thought they both did pretty well. I just tuned in to see how Biden would hold up, and then I tuned in to see what Trump would say. And I just interested on your take. It was the first time in a long time, I guess, I've seen both of them have a stage.
I was too busy standing in line at the post office to catch Biden. But I did see Trump, and he started out really good, and he was talking about China and everything, and then it just turned into, I'm going to rip on Biden for like a half an hour. It just went down that road. So
here was my take on watching Trump yesterday. His hair looked grayer than I've ever seen it.
Yeah. He's starting to get looking a little weary for the wear.
It was gray. It was almost white.
That being the president will do that to you. You remember watching President Obama go in a young man and come out aged, and both Bushes did that. It's always interesting. Somebody put together a before and after picture, on the first day of office and the last day of office for presidents, and especially those who are in for 8 years.
What's happening?
Dick, did you get your hair changed? If you're on Facebook, Dick's giving us a view of his new hairdo. You're listening to the Paul W. Smith Show. We'll be back with more. We're on Facebook, we're on YouTube, and we are on 760 AM. We'll be back after we check in with weather and traffic and Dana Clark.
This report is sponsored by LifeLock. If you're only monitoring your credit to help protect your identity, you could miss certain threats, like your info for sale on the dark web. Good thing there's LifeLock Identity Theft Protection. Get LifeLock now and save more during their special summer sale. Go to LifeLock.com. Use promo code RISK. Sale ends July 20th.
275 northbound at 7 Mile. Accident is blocking the right shoulder, picking up delays along 75 southbound between Collingwood Boulevard and Ohio/25. That's in Toledo. 30-minute delay for trucks across the Blue Water Bridge westbound between Canada and the U.S. Now, WJR Weather First from the Weather Channel, sponsored by the law firm of Victoria Divorce and Family Law for Women Only. Family members and friends pass this information on to your loved ones. Security, protection, a brighter tomorrow. The conversation starts with the law firm of Victoria. Call 248-723-1600, victorialawfirm.com. It's going to heat up hotter and humid over the next several days. We are expecting temps to hit 89 today. Ooh, it's going to be steamy for tonight. Partly cloudy skies. Your low 72. Then we'll see occasional showers overnight. On Thursday, some clouds and showers, scattered thunderstorms. A high of 80, and on Friday, mostly sunny skies will hit 89. We see 90s by the weekend. Clear skies, 69 degrees. I'm Dana Clark, WJR News with Dick Hafner in about 2 minutes.
The word trail is odd. It means following behind. But when you get on a trail, you're moving ahead. Ahead of your worries, ahead of life's dramas.
Kevin, did you see this story that that Tom Hanks, when he was on The Late Show talking about his new Apple TV Plus movie that's out, said that the coronavirus left his bones feeling like they were made of soda crackers?
No, but I saw he was really outspoken about people wearing masks, and he and his wife were I think one of the first sets of celebrities to have the coronavirus.
Yeah, that was like back in March when they were in Australia, I think.
Yeah.
And then they were quarantined there for a little while.
Hey, Dave, at 6:35, we're open here? Is that right?
Still open at 6:35.
Is the gang coming back, or just you and me, or is Dick coming back, or
maybe Dick might be popping in for that segment, and then at 6:48, then we're going to have a
Garland Gilchrist.
Correct.
Right. And then, okay. All right. Yep. I just wanted to make sure I see where we were at.
Right. That's correct. Right.
Yes. Yeah. When it's interesting how when the first few people you heard had the coronavirus, I remember, I guess it hit me like the first basketball player who had it or something like that.
Rudy Gobert. Yeah.
And now it's like, it seems everybody has it. But some of the stories are really horrific. Some people really get it bad. Most people don't. It's not a big deal, but the ones who get it bad. So he said that he could really feel it in his bones, huh?
Yeah, like that Broadway dancer, the actor who passed away. He had it for he fought for like 90 days with the coronavirus, and then finally he lost his leg, and then finally, but I think he had diabetes too. That kind of complicated the situation.
Mm-hmm.
But did you see also the law that they passed in Philadelphia where they're not going to have any crowds until February?
No.
So now they can't. Now, if they do play football or if they do play, baseball, all that, no fans can go. Because the Patriots said they were going to try to get like 13,000 fans to come to their stadium to watch the game, but the Phillies are going to have nothing because they're not going to allow fans until February.
Wow.
So that was like, wow. I was, yeah. I thought that was interesting that I heard that this morning too. So I don't know. And then we had some more people that tested also positive. There was a couple baseball players, a couple basketball players also that tested positive and had to leave the bubble. So and you got baseball starting in like a week. So
and you think it'll go forward or at least get started and then see how it goes? Or
I think it's going to start and I think it's going to get shut down. I don't know. I just think it's going to be tough to keep everybody. Okay, well, baseball is different than basketball. Basketball, so they're in the bubble. So they're supposedly not having any interaction. Baseball, they're going home. They're going home to their families. They're not in a bubble. So I think it's going to be harder for them to be able to contain if it starts to get bad. It's going to be harder for them.
Would you say baseball is the easiest sport to play and social distance at the same time?
For sure. Yeah. For sure.
So yeah, I feel like football for some reason is just this. They said, well, if we put out announcements in little bits before we cancel it completely, it'll be easier on our fan base. It's hard for me to imagine football with that contact. And basketball, there's a ton of contact. Basketball is definitely a contact sport unless they change some of the rules or something where they create more space for the players. It's going to be really hard to control.
And I just don't know how as far as football is concerned, how do you socially distance even when they're not playing the game? You know how many players are on a football team? How do you socially distance in the locker room? How do you socially distance, after the game's over? It's all very interesting. And then golf's not going to have fans for the rest of the PGA season either.
Yeah, I kind of, watching golf on TV, it doesn't bother me that the fans aren't there. I kind of enjoyed all, the Yahoo's not yelling, get in the hole and all that.
Really?
Stuff. It didn't bother me. I don't know that I'd feel the same way about any of the other sports. But golf didn't really bother me not seeing fans out there.
I think if they were able to mic up the golfers like they did when they had Tiger and Peyton Manning and Phil Mickelson and Tom Brady, that was kind of cool because you were able to hear what they were saying.
Yeah.
I don't know if they can do that during tournament competition since that was just a charity event, but it kind of gave you an inside look at what were they talking about, kind of the smack talk that was going on, the figuring out the distances with their caddies and stuff like that. Some of the stuff that you might not hear. I thought that was kind of cool.
Yeah, I really enjoyed that. They tried that the first time I saw them try that. I think was when it was just Tiger versus Phil 1-on-1. It didn't work. It didn't work, but I thought it really worked with this particular one. It's getting better and better.
Well, the week before they had Dustin Johnson, Ricky Fowler, Matt Wolf, and Roy McIlroy, I think, and they tried it and it didn't work out as well. But Peyton Manning and Tom Brady are so
friendly,
especially Peyton. He's very marketable and he's very funny, and I thought it worked out great.
Yeah. I think we're going to see a lot of different things, whether it's miking people up or just having more commentators. Remember, Charles Barkley was out commentating golf just to mix things up. I don't remember what event that was, but I think we're just going to see a lot of other ways to try and make sports entertaining. That's what I guess it is ultimately, is entertainment. There's going to be a merging of things. We've seen people put on concerts with no fans in the auditoriums too, for TV.
Right.
And, I'm sure music fans are eager to get back. And
800-854-4533.
Yeah, I mean, going to a concert, it's going to be kind of like what we talked about with the movie theaters. It's going to be a little bit of time before those days come back.
Now back to more Paul W. Smith on WJR. Once again, substituting, here's Kevin Dietz.
Good morning. You're listening to the Paul W. Smith Show on WJR 760. We are also on Facebook Live and we are on YouTube. And joining me now is Dave Rieger and Dick Hafner. Gentlemen, how are you?
100%.
100%. I like it, Dick. We haven't lost any percentage since the show started with you.
No, not even one.
So I'm looking at a story that says U.S. Airlines carried 89% fewer passengers in May compared with last May. Obviously just a massive decline that is just crippling the industry. And I just am curious, as you guys think about the world reopening, and all the airlines are saying that their bookings are just declining. Do you feel that we're going to have to just spend an enormous amount of our tax dollars to keep this industry alive? Or do you think it will shrink down and prices will just get really, really expensive? And I'm curious, if they tried to slash prices, what price point would you decide to jump on a plane right now, or do you have no concerns about flying right now, or would an amazing deal of say $200 to go to Hawaii from Detroit say I'm jumping on a plane and going? Dave, what do you think?
If I could go somewhere and do something and get a great price like that, then yeah, definitely. If I had a great price to go to Vegas and you could actually safely go and gamble or go do things, for sure. Hawaii, I guess you could go play golf. I've always wanted to do that. So if I found a great price, I think I would be okay getting on an airplane and doing that flight.
Would it bother you if all the seats were full, or would you want some space? Would you want the middle seats open, or would it, if the price was right, you'd go?
I definitely would like the middle seat open, and I would like some social distancing just to be safe. I would assume that you've got to would you have to wear your mask the whole time that you were on the plane? That might be a little uncomfortable.
Probably,
I don't know.
Probably. Dick, what do you think about the airline industry? I mean, you've seen the highs and lows of this industry over the decades. This is probably as challenging as most things they've seen.
Well, Ed Bastian, the CEO of Delta, was on our air yesterday in our news, and he said it's the worst atmosphere that he's ever seen, and he thinks it's the worst atmosphere for business for the airlines ever. Delta had an 88% revenue drop in the second quarter, and Delta had been planning to expand the number of flights that they were going to be offering here for the rest of the year, and they now have cut that by more than 50%. So it's still a disaster for the airlines, and you asked Dave whether he was ready to fly, and Dave said, he just said, well, if there's a good bargain out there, he may well do it. I'm not ready to go yet.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you, Dick. I'm in no hurry to go anywhere I can't drive to just yet. I do understand that some people have to fly and take the risk. I've talked to several people who have flown. Some people that I know had to come back from, like they live down south in the winter and come back, and they did fly instead of drive. I think I would probably drive even to Florida, and if I was going further than that, I just don't. Planes in general, they're so small and confined. I worry about getting sick every time I'm on a plane. But it seems with the virus just trapped in that airplane. I'm not sure, but right. Again, if you could get the whole family to Hawaii for a few $100, you might mask up and bring a lot of sanitizer and take a risk. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, here's an important point, though. You mentioned about the future of the airlines and asked about that, Kevin. I was listening to Bastian and his information yesterday. Bastian, the head of Delta, which, of course, controls the Detroit Metro Airport. Right. And Bastian pointed out that the level of business flying, right? The business flight. What we're talking about is flying for pleasure, vacations, trips, etc., leisure travel. But the heart of the airline revenue is business travel. And he said the business travel had just fallen right off the table, and he doesn't expect it to ever come back to the level that it once was, because businesses have found that they can operate remotely. They're using Zoom. They're using we're using StreamYard to do this, and they're discovering that they can effectively hold meetings and do other functions using remote capability. Why spend hundreds of dollars on a flight for an executive who doesn't need to go? And so the airlines know that business travel will not be coming back ever nearly to the level that it once was, and the business traveler revenue helps support the prices that you and I will pay for vacation travel. As a result, we're all going to have to pay a lot more for our airline tickets in the future. And what does that mean? Well, that means we're going to be flying less.
And you're going to see a lot of employees being laid off, and you're going to see your experience is going to be very different. It's I remember when gas stations had full service, and then it first went to self-service, and it's like, what is this? This is crazy. Now in a snowstorm, you drive by any corner and you see people out pumping their own gas. At the grocery stores, people clerks are no longer there, and you're self-checking out. And I think they're going to have very small staffs in the airline industry, and you're going to be dragging those bags around and trying to get them in the overhead, and nobody's going to be bringing you your glass of wine on your next flight. I think it is going to change. I think it's going to get very expensive. And that business travel, I agree with you, Dick. I think it's gone for good. I've talked to so many people in big companies who said they are doing so many things different. And what they're finding out is they didn't need a lot of what they were doing. And it's not just airline flights, but even office space. So many industries maybe changed for a long time, if not forever, because of what we're experiencing right now.
In the meantime, I lost my red handkerchief at the gas station. If anybody sees it, please contact me.
I love it. Dick Hafner, the full service gas station man. Oh, that's great. All right. Yeah, you're listening to the Paul W. Smith Show, and we'll be right back with a really interesting interview with the Lieutenant Governor. But first, let's check in with weather and traffic and Dana Clark.
This report is sponsored by LifeLock. If you're only monitoring your credit to help protect your identity, you could miss certain threats, like your info for sale on the dark web. Good thing there's LifeLock Identity Theft Protection. Get LifeLock now and save more during their special summer sale. Go to LifeLock.com. Use promo code RISK. Sale ends July 20th.
Kevin, earlier accident is clear from 275 northbound at 7 Mile. Still seeing delays in Toledo along 75 southbound between Collingwood Boulevard and Ohio /25. Also still a 30-minute delay for trucks across the Blue Water Bridge westbound between Canada and the U.S. Now WJR weather first from the Weather Channel.
Not too bad of a Wednesday morning. A few clouds around, nice dry pavement out there. That's going to change though later tonight. Cloud sun today, high 89. Tonight, 71, rain after midnight. Thursday, scattered showers, thunderstorms. Keep that rain gear handy, a high of 84. From the Weather Channel, meteorologist Ray Stagecount, News Talk 760 WJR.
This week's IHS Market Minute with Michael Robinet is brought to you by Oria. Oria builds quiet, comfortable, durable into your vehicle.
Amidst a restart from the COVID-19 driven paralysis this past spring, the automotive industry is still gritting its teeth, anticipating potential after effects. These include demand and supply impacts from an extended first wave or possible C-19 second wave. Given this, smart suppliers are taking a 30,000-foot view of their future strategies. Climbing out of the 2008-2009 financial recession, North American light vehicle production averaged 14.7 million units through the decade's midpoint. In an industry fixated on covering fixed costs, this was a challenging volume level, causing disruption within the ranks. Since 2015, though, volumes improved with an average of over 17 million units per year, a much healthier and prosperous volume. Fast forward to today, the IHS market forecasts the industry back again below 15 million units through 2024. Let's hope we don't have to relearn last decade's hard lessons, as much of the playbook has already been written. This is Michael Robinet with an IHS Market Minute.
With a lineage of proven performance, a collaborative approach, and strategic locations across the globe, Aria is crafting the newest science of automotive acoustic and textile solutions. From acoustic products that reduce cabin noise to a wide range of flooring and other interior solutions that provide luxury, durability, and comfort, Aria is creating the next wave of automotive innovation. To find out more, visit ariasolutions.com.
Treetops Resort, Palmer, Nicholas, Trevino, and Mickelson. It's time to add your name to the greats who have played Treetops. Championship packages start as low as $334 per person. Visit treetops.com. That's treetops.com.
President Trump needs a strong conservative ally in Congress. Meet Republican businesswoman Lisa McClain.
I'm Lisa McClain. I'm a conservative outsider, proven job creator, and pro-Trump Republican. I grew up in a Michigan farming town, worked my way through school, and spent my career building one of the fastest growing companies in Michigan.
Like President Trump, Lisa McClain is a business leader, political outsider, and rock-solid conservative Republican. She'll stand with President Trump from day one.
I know what it takes to fix our economy. I will stand with President Trump to hold China accountable, make new trade deals that put Michigan first, and bring manufacturing jobs back to America so we never have to depend on China again. Let's make America great.
Conservative, business leader, political outsider, pro-Trump Republican Lisa McClain for Congress.
I'm Lisa McClain, and I approve this message.
Paid for by Lisa McClain for Congress.
Hi, Frank Beckman here. I think most of you know I've had back problems for a long, long time. Over the last couple months, I've told you about a place I visited that helps fix the nagging pain. I called the Restore Wellness Center. Their goal is to restore function, reduce the pain, speed up healing, and that's just what they did. For the past 3 years, they've been able to help thousands of Metro Detroiters. His name is David. He was in a car accident back in 1980. They needed the jaws of life to get him out. Had head injuries, neck injuries. And tell me how you discovered Restore Wellness Center.
Okay, so I went in there, I tried it, and they had a free first offering, and I did it, and I said, okay, cool. And I tell you, it only took 2-3 times. I'm going, oh my gosh, I feel better. It's like a spa I'm going to. It's just very enjoyable. The people are great, and it's come out better than when I came in.
800-935-5959 or visit RestoreWellnessCenter.com. Restore Wellness Center. What do you need restored?
Michigan Economic Development Corporation is committed to helping businesses in our state during the COVID-19 pandemic and beyond. If you own a business, MEDC has dedicated programs and resources available to you now. These include small business support, access to capital, entrepreneur resources, and buyer and supplier matchmaking. Find support today at michiganbusiness.org/pure-partnership. That's michiganbusiness.org/pure-partnership.
Ever consider advertising with WJR? Offering a mix of cost-effective broadcast and digital media, WJR gets results. For more details, call 313-873-9810. That's 313-873-9810.
Now back to more Paul W. Smith on WJR. Once again substituting, here's Kevin Dietz.
I got an alert on my phone. The new mask order was in effect. But what does it really mean? We're going to find out from Lieutenant Governor Garland Gilchrist. Garland, are you here?
I am. Good morning.
Good morning. How are you today?
I'm doing okay, Kevin. I hope that you and your family are staying safe.
We are, and it's nice to hear from you. Can you tell our listeners what exactly this new executive order means? There seems to be some confusion right out of the gate.
Yeah, it's really straightforward. If you are leaving your home and going to some place that is indoors, you should have a mask on. And if you're leaving your home and going someplace that is outdoors and you cannot maintain 6 feet of distance between you and other people, you should have a mask on, period.
If you're going to a place, I was out at a couple of different places. I was at a post office yesterday. I was at a CVS yesterday. There was a sign that said, wear your mask when entering here. Are they ordered to make me wear a mask? Are they encouraged to make me wear a mask? Am I required by law to wear a mask?
We're taking up the mantra, no shoes, no shirt, no mask, no service. And we are, yes, requiring businesses to enforce the mask policy when people come indoors. Now, it's not a change that masks have been required for people when they've left their homes. It's actually been in effect for several months. So that is not a change. But now we're asking businesses to step up because they have a responsibility to protect their employees and their customers as well.
So I pop into a store and I don't have a mask on. Do I get the ticket? Does the store get the ticket? Do we both get the ticket?
The store has the responsibility here. But I think we need to focus on something a little different here. What's at stake here is not who gets a $500 fine. What's at stake is who has the possibility of getting sick from COVID-19. And frankly, as someone who's lost 23 people in his life to COVID-19, I think we need to keep focused on what the bigger picture is here. And it's that we don't want people to get sick preventively. We don't want people to die preventively. Because I know that it's inconvenient to wear a mask. Look, I've never had to wear a mask in my life before then. I have to train my twin 6-year-old children on how to wear masks. But it's a whole lot more convenient to wear a mask than it is to be in a hospital or be on a ventilator or die or have someone in your life pass away. And that's really what this is about, because we have a virus that is novel. We still don't know how it's going to impact people's bodies. We don't know what's going to happen. If a person contracts it, they may get symptoms and have to go to the hospital, and heaven forbid the worst may come of that. So we have something very simple that we can do to keep people safe and keep ourselves safe. And I think the overwhelming majority of people in Michigan have done that this whole time. And I think they're going to step up and meet this challenge. I would liken it to the fact that we put a piece of cloth across our bodies every time we get in a car to prevent loss of life, called a seatbelt. We're going to do the same. We're asking people to do the same thing and put a piece of cloth over their face to prevent the spreading of COVID-19. And I think that's something that the people of Michigan, as resilient as we've always been, are overwhelmingly going to step up and do, because they want people to be safe. They want their kids to be able to go back to school in a month and a half. And this is the most straightforward thing that we can do, along with hand washing and maintaining 6 feet of distance and cleaning surfaces, that we can do to make sure that that's possible.
We have a lot of data that seatbelts save lives. Do we have good, solid data that wearing a mask is going to save lives?
That's continuing to build. We have some of the finest public health, infectious disease, and epidemiological experts in the world here in the state of Michigan. And that is a recommendation that's been coming not only from them, but also from the senators from the Dietz show, from the Trump administration itself. And so, I mean, this is not about, masks should not be a political issue, although they have become one. That is frankly a failure of the national response. But in Michigan, we can mask up and do things differently and be a model for the country and show people what it means to keep people safe. And so frankly, yes, I get it. It's inconvenient when it's hot outside and you want to walk out or you want to ride bikes. But again, it's a whole lot harder to breathe on a ventilator than it is under a mask.
When police put out on their website that don't call us if someone's not wearing a mask, we're not going to respond to that. What does that do to the effort from the governor's office to try and get people to wear masks?
Well, look, we've been doing everything that we can at the state level. And again, the overwhelming majority of our local partners at every level of government have worked with us to make sure that we can keep communities safe. I think, everyone has a responsibility to keep the people that they serve safe. That's our number one responsibility as public servants, protect and promote public safety and public health. I certainly would hope those law enforcement officials who've chosen to make a choice like that would think about the people that they're serving and their potential risks, both to themselves and to those who they are charged to protect and serve. And hopefully they'll step up, because I think it's important that we all need to be on the same team here when it comes to combating COVID-19, because we all have a role to play in our state having a response that minimizes the number of people who get sick and minimize their loss of life going forward.
COVID-19 has changed all of our lives. It's a massive crisis and it needs to be dealt with. But how much of the regular work is getting done in Lansing? I haven't heard much about fixing roads and other things. Is the regular day-to-day work still getting done, or are we completely preoccupied by COVID-19?
Well, our administration has been working. I think you saw, for example, we've taken a lot of actions to try to keep people safe. And these things, like COVID-19 has impacted every area of life. And so therefore, life must continue to work. That's why we've been doing things like making sure that the safety net is there for people who have had hardship that has been exacerbated because of COVID-19. But I think you saw a few weeks ago, we announced a budget deal with our legislative counterparts to make sure that we were going to have a state budget that made sense. We're continuing to advocate for more resources from the federal government for the budget going forward. So our administration is still working on behalf of the people of Michigan, and we certainly hope that the Republican leadership in the legislature in Lansing is going to choose to do the same thing. I think that there's some questions about whether that was the case before, but they have an opportunity to step up and do the right thing now. And so I think we certainly are continuing to do the work that we took an oath to do on behalf of the people of Michigan. And I think we've been seeing that at the local level as well. There's still work that needs to be done. So no, we're not taking days off dealing with COVID-19.
You're a Detroiter. Detroit public schools are trying to open up for summer school. They opened up yesterday. It's a volunteer basis. Protesters are getting in front of buses saying you can't use Detroit kids as an experiment to see if schools are going to be safe moving forward. As you look at the dangers of COVID and you go out and you convince people to wear masks and to wash their hands and to be safe, how do you feel about kids showing up at school right now in the current situation?
Well, look, I'm not. This is not a theoretical exercise for me. I'm the parent of 2 Detroit Public Schools Community District students. I have twin rising second graders in DPSCD, and I think that what we need to be focused on as quickly as possible, as like a laser, frankly, is what is going to happen with in-person education in the fall. That means people need to mask up and do all the things I talked about to keep the spread of this virus down. when it comes to school right now, I frankly think that we should be focusing on the fall and not the summer. I know that a lot of parents feel the same way, because a lot of parents, a lot of education professionals are really nervous because we're seeing numbers go in the wrong direction. We're seeing this uptick happening in our state and in communities across the state, and people don't want to put their kids in harm's way. They don't want to put their education professionals, the people their kids love at those schools, in harm's way. And I certainly share that sentiment. So we need to be really, really careful and cautious about the choices that we're making. We need to make sure that we have plans and that the resources are available to schools to be able to implement those plans to safely return to learning. That's why we're advocating so strongly to the federal government to make sure they're making resources available. We put forward in the budget deal I talked about $256 million to support return to learning, but we know we're going to need even more resources to do this at scale. I've been working during this whole pandemic to make sure kids had access to the internet and access to internet-enabled devices. 600,000 kids in our state did not have an internet-enabled device in their home, or 60,000 did not have internet access to be able to learn at a distance. So I get that this is difficult and challenging. We put forward resources and leverage federal resources to train education professionals on how to facilitate learning at a distance. And you've even seen some of the largest districts in the country, LA Unified School District, San Diego, et cetera, make the choice that it wasn't safe enough to do in-person instruction. But if we do what we need to do in Michigan for the next 7 weeks, I think we can get there. But I think we need to focus on the fall primarily.
All right. So mask up, Michigan. Don't worry so much about getting a $500 ticket or a misdemeanor. Worry about protecting yourself and protecting other citizens of Michigan and Southeast Michigan. Lieutenant Governor Garland Gilchrist, thanks for being on the Paul W. Smith Show.
Thank you, Kevin. Stay safe.
This report is sponsored by LifeLock. If you're only monitoring your credit to help protect your identity, you could miss certain threats, like your info for sale on the dark web. Good thing there's LifeLock Identity Theft Protection. Get LifeLock now and save more during their special summer sale. Go to LifeLock.com. Use promo code RISK. Sale ends July 20th.
New accident reported in Detroit. Kevin Lodge northbound at 10 Mile. Wreck there is blocking the right lane. 30-minute delay for trucks across the Blue Water Bridge westbound between Canada and the U.S. Now, WJR Weather First from the Weather Channel, sponsored by Chris Furniture. This summer, enjoy spending time with your family around a new dining room set from Chris Furniture, U.S. made of solid wood, direct from the manufacturer. Chris Furniture in Livonia on the corner of Plymouth and Farmington Roads, or chrisfurniturinc.com. Sunshine, currently 69 degrees. It's going to be hot and humid today. A high of 89, sunshine, then clouds later. Tonight, partly cloudy this evening. Occasional showers overnight, your low 72 for Thursday. Some clouds and showers, scattered thunderstorms. Could be heavy, especially in the morning. The morning drive will definitely be affected, and a high of 80 on Thursday. I'm Dana Clark. WJR News with Dick Hafner is next.
Here with Oxford Recovery Center's founder, Dr. Tammy Peterson. Dr. Peterson, scarcely a soul hasn't heard about Oxford Recovery Center, and it began with the use of hyperbaric oxygen therapy. How did you find out about that?
I found out about it when my daughter had a brain injury at 9 years old, functioned at about 11 months. And we watched her go from 11 months functioning in a few weeks to actually functioning as a 10-year-old, a normal, healthy child.
And how does it work exactly?
Well, we're most known for our hyperbaric oxygen therapy, from autism to autoimmune to traumatic brain injuries, post-traumatic stress disorder, stroke, cerebral palsy. And what we actually do, you go into a chamber and you breathe 100% oxygen. Now, you don't feel anything. It's very comfortable, but it literally heals the body.
It's amazing. It's Oxford Recovery Center, now in Brighton and Troy. 248-486-3636 or oxfordrecoverycenter.com. It's the place where healing begins.
WJR Detroit and WDVD HD2 Detroit. The great voice of the Great Lakes. 760 WJR, where Detroit comes to talk.
The governor has extended an emergency declaration through August 11th. Also, the U.S. and Canada extend their agreement to keep the border closed to non-essential travel until at least August 21st. Both the actions come as the state of Michigan officials reported 584 new cases of coronavirus and 6 new deaths. The past week saw a record 3,400 cases. Michigan has now gone over the 70,000 known cases level since the start of the outbreak. The cultural sites of Detroit are reopening. The Motown Museum and the Detroit Institute of Arts will follow the Henry Ford, which opened to the public last Thursday. The Motown Hitsville and the Institute of Arts opened today. All say they've worked out safety procedures for ensuring the public's safety.
Okay, Kev.
Hey, you're back.
Yes.
We're back. We're all back.
I moved back into the main studio now. That we weren't happy with the way that it was working out of the control room.
Wasn't you guys were getting on each other's nerves?
It's just easier to do it this way.
Yeah.
Because it gives Brian a little bit more control to listen to what he needs to listen to.
That's good.
So it was a good test. This is a more comfortable chair.
It was a good test. You guys can still text me whatever I need to know instead of hearing Brian through your ear pods.
Right, exactly. right, exactly. So we're gonna have the business beat coming up.
Yep. Stick gonna stay with us after news, or you gonna stay with us?
He may stay with us after news on the Access.
All right. We'll see.
And then
he'll be with us for a few minutes. Yep, Dick will be there.
Then we'll get into your guest. Yes, Dick will be here via Access. And continuing, by the way, on with the airplane. I didn't. What about the recycled air that is, that comes through like the fans or whatever? I wonder if those are getting turned off when you're going and flying too.
Yeah, I don't know what
for that recycled air.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I would think that, the same concerns they have for COVID, they would have had for the flu and other viruses, airborne illnesses in planes. I'm not sure exactly how that works and how serious that is. Do you turn your do you like the air on, blowing on you when you're in the plane? I do too. I get hot. I get
yes.
It makes me more comfortable to have some fresh, what I think is fresh air. It may not be that fresh as it turns out, but
I know that's the thing. And you're like, and you say you drive to Florida. No way, I'm driving to Florida. I hate driving on long road trips. I can't stand it. It's the worst.
I'm not saying I prefer it, but I don't mind it too much. My limit is like if it's 8 hours by driving, I would rather drive than fly. By the time you go to the airport 2 hours early, you get there, you don't have a car, you this and that. So like Chicago, I definitely want to drive to Chicago over fly.
Really?
Yeah. I like having a car. Just going to the airport my anxiety levels go up. It's not a very pleasant experience to go to the airport anymore.
I agree. It is a pain to go through the airport, but if you're going to go somewhere on vacation and you're going to drive, you're going to have to take an extra 1 or 2 days, depending on where you're going, just to drive, just to get to the destination. Then you're tired and it's annoying. Not that you're not tired after flying, because that has its annoying parts too. But
I'm probably just cheap. I'm a family of 5, so when you throw the cost in there as well of five airplane seats versus gas prices you're tired anyway when you got kids.
Sure.
You're tired and aggravated anyway on vacation. Flying with kids, little kids, it's obviously now it's not such an issue, but little kids flying can really wear you out. You ever see those families in the airport with the little ones?
Oh yeah, for sure. I have 2 nieces. I don't have any kids. So plus I'm single. So if I'm going to go somewhere, I'm just flying.
You're flying first class.
I'm going, if I'm, I like to go visit my brother and he lives in the San Francisco area. I like to go to Vegas.
Do you look at last minute deals?
No, you know what? I kind of look at it like, all right, this is how much it's going to cost me. You know, I try to do it as far as advance as I can. And, especially for Vegas, sometimes I'll go see my aunt because she lives in Vegas. Sometimes we'll just stay on the Strip. Sometimes we'll stay downtown.
From the great voice of the Great Lakes, this is Paul W. Smith on WJR with Kevin Dietz filling in for Paul.
It is 7:07 in the morning on July 15th, a Wednesday, a beautiful morning. What's going to be a beautiful day, warm temperatures in the upper 80s. If you're listening to us on WJR 760, thanks for stopping by. We are also on Facebook Live and on YouTube, so feel free to join us on the internet or on your radio. We've had a fun morning so far, and we're going to continue. With me right now is Dave Rieger and Dick Hafner. Gentlemen, good morning. How are you?
Hey, Kev, how are you, man?
I'm doing good. Dick, you with us?
I couldn't be better. 100%.
I love it. We are talking about sports, and everybody seems to want to know what's happening with sports. Are things going to play or not? But I saw this article. This came from the Positive Coaching Alliance, a national coach training organization, and they are expressing concern about the lasting impacts of this shutdown on youth sports and what it's going to do to the youth sports industry and on individual kids and teams. The economic toll is one thing of being able to keep youth sports going, but just do you think that staying home from school, not being able to play sports, kids who are in the band, all of these things, do you think these are going to have lasting impacts, or do you think kids will bounce back as soon as everything opens up again? Dick, what are your thoughts on that?
I think all of the above. I think it will have a lasting impact. When you look at the athletes that are the really best high school athletes, right? The best ones, the ones that are recruited for colleges, they're not going to be having the opportunity to show what they can do. So how does that affect them in the future? I don't know, but obviously the effects are not going to be good. What about a kid in the band or in choir? What will that experience do for their future? We don't know, but we do know that a lot of kids take up music, choir, band, or the other extracurricular activities, and they continue them through their lives. That will be disrupted. And will kids bounce back? Absolutely. Kids bounce back immediately. So I think all of those things will happen, but I don't think it's predictable what the effects will be.
Yeah, friendships and interactions are really important for kids too, and they're not getting as much of that as they were, obviously. Dave, as you think about, you're a big sports fan, as you think about youth sports, we've talked a little bit about college and pros, but when you think about youth sports, what kind of impact do you think we're seeing?
I tend to agree with Dick. I think it'll have a two-prong effect. I think that they will bounce back 100% once we get back to normal or whatever the new normal is going to be. But I think right now, especially the kids that are seniors that aren't going to be able to play and then show their skills for recruits from colleges, and then that next step going to the next level. And so that's where it's going to get interesting to see how long it takes for the kids to get back into school and for sports to go on and for things to get back to normal that way, because everything's being pushed back now. So it's going to be very interesting.
Yeah, I'm sure 99% of kids who play youth sports don't go on to get college scholarships or go on to play pros for sure. But I just think of how many important family memories youth sports played with when I was growing up as a kid, as my kids grew up, and to think that youth sports may not be back for a while. It's not coming back quickly. They're going to be extremely cautious with youth football. We were talking about college football. Are they going to play or not? It's going to be a while before they let little kids get together and play some of these sports. So I think it's something to watch. I know a lot of kids who journal have been writing their feelings out, and they miss their friends, and they miss their sports, and they miss their teachers, and they want to get back, and we'll have to keep an eye on it for sure. Right now, we want to check in with our Jeff Sloan, founder and CEO of Startup Nation, to spotlight the entrepreneurial tech and startup community here on WJR.
Good morning, Kevin. We all tend to think that it's discounts and deals that drive online consumer purchasing, but in the COVID-19 era, it's convenience and free shipping that are the biggest drivers of consumer purchasing. According to the study, Who Wins Where? Lessons for Digital Brands, just released by Avianos, the COVID-19 outbreak has accelerated changes in online shopping that are not only surprising, but also favorable to online merchants if featured effectively. Generally speaking, in today's world, it's all about providing a supreme customer experience, leading to a sense of efficiency, convenience, and value, all of which are much less costly to online merchants to provide versus deep discounting. Here's a breakdown of further key points from the study. 70% of consumers, when shopping a digitally native brand that is a pure play e-commerce retailer, want a simple and easy online and mobile shopping experience as the most important factor contributing to their online purchasing. 56% of digitally native customers specifically say it's fast, free shipping that is the most important key purchasing driver, and 76% say that fast shipping speed contributes most significantly to a positive customer experience with that online retailer. 55% ask for an easy, reasonable return policy. 57% rely on those online consumer reviews, which we all know are so important. And all of these factors fall into the category of convenience in the customer experience, and they all trump discounting. So how about those deep discounts as a way to drive sales? Well, only 32% of consumer surveys said the discounts and deals are the key driver of their purchasing. That is really surprising. And if you're an online retailer focused on discounts as the key driver to drive sales, you're probably leaving money on the table. You could be selling through Amazon, eBay, Etsy, Shopify, or your own e-commerce site. But in any case, you must focus on convenience and efficiency to create a supreme customer experience if you want to drive sales and put more money in your pocket. I'm Jeff Sloan, founder and CEO of StartupNation.com, and that's today's Business Beat on the great voice of the Great Lakes, WJR.
This report is sponsored by ExpressPros.com. Looking for an easier way to find your next job? It's time to get to know Express Employment Professionals. Visit ExpressPros.com to find one of over 830 locations to help support your workforce needs.
Accident along the Lodge northbound at 10 Mile. A wreck there is blocking the right lane. 10-minute delay for trucks across the Blue Water Bridge westbound between Canada and the U.S. Now, WJR Weather First from the Weather Channel, sponsored by Liberty Title, protecting property since 1974. A few quick tips from Liberty Title. Cybercrime and identity theft in real estate is a $2 billion industry. Make sure your title company is insured. There is no need for split closing. Use only one title company and never close your transaction in a public place. You have a choice. Choose LibertyTitle.com.
Pretty good looking day today, but rain coming in tonight, probably lasting in through at least a part of tomorrow. Clouds and sunshine around this morning. Clouds and sun this afternoon. High 89. Tonight, rain after midnight, 71 the low. Tomorrow, some scattered showers and thunderstorms with a high near 84. From Weather Channel, I'm meteorologist Ray Staging on News Talk 760 WJR.
Michigan, the coronavirus pandemic has put us all to the test. And now it's time to put COVID-19 to the test. As we move forward, testing will be critical. We encourage anyone who has reason to get tested to do so, those with symptoms and those without. If you are leaving home and going back to work, get tested. If you think you may have COVID-19 or you've been exposed recently through family, friends, or coworkers, get tested. Our test locator tool can help you find the right testing site that fits your needs. Even if you're looking for easy access with no cost, no prescription, and no appointment necessary, we've got you covered. Help Michigan move forward, not backward. To find a testing site or learn more, visit michigan.gov/coronavirus test. A message from the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services.
We know life's a little different. It's been a while since you've had a professional haircut, and it's been way too long since you've made a reservation for a date night. But right now, we need a little different, because different is a good thing. When you're ready to get off the sidewalk and onto a trail, get out of the kiddie pool and into a river kayak, or just experience something different, we'll be ready. We hope to see you soon in Michigan's Great Lakes Bay region, where life is just a little different.
Have you been told you need spine surgery or just sick of living in pain? The Disc Institute has a proven, painless alternative. If your neck, back, or sciatic pain is due to a herniated, degenerative, or bulging disc, then you actually have two problems. One, your pain, and two, your bad disc. Drugs, therapies, epidurals, and new pain lasers are designed to only treat your pain, but they're not designed to treat your disc problem. And this is crucial because your bad disc is what's causing your pain in the first place. Without addressing your disc problem, your problem will get worse, which can ultimately lead to surgery. At the Disc Institute, we have a proven solution to solve both of your problems, your pain and the bad disc that's causing it, with our high-tech, non-invasive treatments. This is what can stop your pain without surgery. We'll even review your MRI for no charge. Call our new Farmington location at 248-940-DISC. That's 248-940-3472.
Texting enrolls you into reoccurring automated text messages. Message and data rates may apply.
Come on, one more rep. You got this. 10. There it is. Nice work, man. You're a beast.
Thanks, man. I feel better than I have in years. And I got to tell you, taking Nugenix makes a huge difference for me.
Nugenix? That's the testosterone booster with TV ads with Frank Thomas. The big hurt, right?
Oh, yeah. The patented key ingredient is Testofen, which helps boost free testosterone levels and increase lean muscle mass.
Well, it's clearly working for you. Hey, are they still giving out complimentary bottles for people to try for themselves?
Yeah, Nugenix is a great way to increase lean muscle and feel stronger with more energy and endurance.
Man, I need to get a complimentary bottle of Nugenix.
No problem. You just got to send them a text. Text ENERGY to 321-321 right now for your complimentary bottle of Nugenix, the #1 selling free testosterone booster at GNC. Plus, text now and we'll include a bottle of new Nugenix Thermo, our most powerful fat incinerator ever, to help get you back into shape fast, absolutely free. Text ENERGY to 321-321. That's ENERGY to 321-321.
Now back to more Paul W. Smith on WJR. Once again substituting, here's Kevin Dietz.
President Donald Trump's administration is pushing for U.S. schools to reopen to students, but a World Health Organization official says not enough is known about the role of children in transmission. It leaves parents with more questions than answers. Joining us now is Dr. Tom Rafai of Reality Meets Science to help us with this. Doc, welcome to the Paul W. Smith Show.
Good morning, Kevin. How are you?
I'm doing well. Now, I happen to know that you have two beautiful children, a 3 and 5-year-old. Are you looking to get them back in school, or are you looking to keep them at home?
Well, let me answer that and just briefly say I'm proud to have taken on a new role as Chief Medical Officer for Wellway Health. But I am absolutely comfortable in the proper context as described by the American Academy of Pediatrics and the Sick Children's Hospital of Canada to send them back to school. I have no reason under those circumstances, considering what was clearly stated by the American Academy, that SARS-CoV-2 behaves differently in children, particularly younger children, but even adolescents, than other respiratory viruses like influenza. And they play a major role, children, in amplifying influenza, but it does not seem to be the case at all with SARS-CoV-2. There are questions, we have to consider them, we have to keep our eye on it, but the absolute preponderance of evidence really does indicate that children and even adolescents are less likely to be symptomatic and less likely to have severe disease, as well as less likely to become infected and spread, particularly in those aged less than 90, where Icelandic data did not find a single case of child-to-parent transmission.
So what is going on? Is there just some fear that we have as parents of sending our children out into a dangerous world? The science says that they're less likely or very unlikely to catch COVID. And you say that they're very unlikely to pass it on even if they do catch it, correct?
Correct. The concern would be far more about the staff spreading it amongst themselves. That is a significant concern. That is one in which we have to look at risk stratification. The CDC has given an excellent guide as to who is at risk based on age and really known risk factors, which I might like to get into, that are highly preventable, like type 2 diabetes, hypertension, heart disease, and excess weight, for instance. So there's no question that that's the case.
So should some teachers be going back and some teachers not be going back? Should there be a determination of how vulnerable each person is individually?
Absolutely, yes. And those, in fact, even parents who are uncomfortable, I could imagine a hybrid classroom situation. And this is just a suggestion as a parent, because we know that full all-out virtual learning is not working. But if we have a certain number of kids in the classroom and there's a camera available and somehow worked out so that there can be those that wish to be remote that stay distant, that would be fine as an aside. But clearly it is the staff, and particularly those over the age of 50 and certainly over 65 with any comorbidities. Again, the CDC has a clear list that can help guide the determination of who should be kept remote, or anyone that feels uncomfortable. All right, but the fact is that school, particularly for primary school children, but I would argue even through high school, is really an essential service. It's not something that we can look at as just wholly optional. I mean, it's not hospital care, admittedly, but certainly it is very important. And I would, with all due respect, argue more important than opening bars and other venues.
When you look at individual school districts, how do you get to know if they're following guidelines? And what are the guidelines that you think are necessary for schools to follow for them to be safe for teachers and staff?
Honestly, Kevin, I'm, in this case, as an internal medicine doc who did some adolescent medicine rotations, and therefore internal medicine being adult, I'm representing more as a parent, but certainly as a physician. And I just want to refer people to the American Academy of Pediatrics document, as well as the Sick Children's Hospital of Canada. And those are clearly well described. I think what we've noted here is most important as far as general. Children are at extremely low risk themselves of getting and spreading, probably at more risk of driving them to school in terms of themselves. But we have to be concerned about the staff. The staff, in that case, I would argue, like everybody, really needs to understand the importance of something that's not discussed much at all. And that is, there is a case, as I have had in my published article in the American Journal of Health Promotion, a case for COVID prophylaxis with lifestyle medicine. The ability for people to reduce their risk by improving their blood pressure, reducing their risk for type 2 diabetes by getting more physically active, healthy weight reduction, and eating with, even improved sleep, if we want to go into some detail in it, is remarkable. I mean, these are diseases that are largely preventable. And keep in mind, we lose about 600,000 people a year to heart disease, 600,000 to cancer, arguably 80% of heart disease, and maybe half, depending on what you read, or more, at least 30% of cancers are preventable. And the ramifications of the clampdown, of going back to full lockdown, cannot be excluded. We're talking about potential devastating ripple effects. We will definitely harm and maim and even kill some people. And I'm not saying do nothing and open up the floodgates. That's the other end of the spectrum that we don't seem to be able to thread the needle and have lost balance in the nuance of this. But if we have 20 million people with that have long-term unemployment, half of the 40 million that have lost their jobs, likely half are going to be long-term. And 1 year of life is shaved off their life expectancy for long-term job loss. You're talking about 20 million years of life lost over some time. But nevertheless, if we look at COVID deaths, losing about 10 years of life per case, and even if we go up to what I predict might be 600,000 lives lost, equal to heart disease, that's about 6 million years. And this isn't a battle of 6 million years life lost versus 20 million. It's an argument for total harm minimization. We need to understand where the risk is. It is clearly in the older population and those at some risk. Again, the CDC provides great guidelines and some personal responsibility for the part that's modifiable. Your age is not, but your lifestyle is. And then allowing those that are at low risk to be able to access, particularly in this discussion, primary school and even up through high school, access to services that are not really purely optional. These are essential services.
Dr. Tom Rafai, Chief Medical Officer, Wellway Health, willing to send his kids to school, says it's safe to go back to school for kids under certain circumstances. Thanks for being on the Paul W. Smith Show today.
My pleasure, Kevin. Great job as always.
All right. Thank you so much. We will be back with more of the Paul W. Smith Show after we check in on weather and traffic with Dana Clark.
This report is sponsored by LifeLock. If you're only monitoring your credit to help protect your identity, you could miss certain threats, like your info for sale on the dark web. Good thing there's LifeLock Identity Theft Protection. Get LifeLock now and save more during their special summer sale. Go to LifeLock.com. Use promo code RISK. Sale ends July 20th.
Still watching an accident, Kevin, along the Lodge northbound at 10 Mile. Wreck there is blocking the right lane. Now, WJR weather first from the Weather Channel. Hot and humid over the next couple of days. Sun today, then some clouds. Humidity on the rise. 59% today, a high of 89 tonight. Partly cloudy skies, seeing occasional showers overnight. Your low 72 for Thursday. Clouds, showers, and thunderstorms, especially heavy in the morning. So from about 5 a.m. to noon, could see those heavy rain showers. Also,
Can you hear me okay, Kev?
Yeah. Hey, Dave, how are you?
Okay. Now we're back to what I had before. Brian said my AirPods were crackling a little. So.
Oh, okay.
So now we're back to my microphone and headphones now.
Were the batteries going on you? Is that?
I'm not sure. I've been having issues with the AirPods lately. I don't know what. They work well for a time, and then they don't. I'm not really sure what the deal is.
Yeah, this show's so long. I don't like using the wireless ones because they'll go out on me. So I plug in. I haven't had any problems with them yet. I've not been to the headphone shop yet.
Yeah, these headphones are great. I think that I'll be back to these. I'll be back to the headphones and the microphone from now on in the studio.
Yeah, well, I was in the studio Monday and I put the headphones on in the microphone studio. It's like, all right, this is all of a sudden the fear of everything breaking down on you, it goes away, and you're like, okay, I can concentrate more on the show with this Wi-Fi and working from home, and you're worried about the Wi-Fi going out or your earplugs going bad or the dog jumping on you. It's definitely a different environment.
Right, for sure. Definitely
not enough for hazard pay. I'm not saying that, but just enough to raise the degree of difficulty.
Yeah, So Joe O'Mara already called in, so
okay.
He's going to be calling back in a second, so he'll be ready to go.
Okay, good. What you think of Dr. Tom? And he says kids can go to school; they're fine.
Yeah. I don't think it's the kids that we're worried about. I think it's the teachers. I think it's the administration. I think it's the workers at the school.
Well, that's what he says too. But the perception, it's always about the perception. It's like who wants to be the first one to put kids in potential danger? And what Dr. Tom's saying is, look, they're in more danger driving to school and getting in a car accident than they are going to school and catching COVID and dying of COVID. And so that's one of the things that we talk about. Just talk about things that happen at home. A bird just flew into the window and hit hard. Maybe hazard pay is in order, at least for the bird.
Yeah, for sure. I see that Patrick says he has a mic and headphones for his PlayStation. I also have a mic and headphones for my PlayStation, Patrick. Yes, I also have that too. With the new PlayStation 5 coming out at the end of the year, which I'm looking forward to very much.
Yeah, my son is 25 and he does all of that, and I haven't played video games. I missed it. I missed that rebirth of all the video games. But I'm jealous of him because he has friends all over the country who he went to school with at Michigan State and now live all over the country, and they set a time and they throw the headphones on and it's like they're in the same room playing, whatever video games they're playing. And it's really cool. Yeah. It's really a great way to stay in touch with friends versus just throwing on the TV and watching whatever's on, right?
Yeah, we have a bunch of guys that we play in an online Madden league. So every year, and the new Madden's going to be coming out very soon. So even if there is no football season, there will still be Madden.
Well, that'll probably be massively huge, huh?
Oh, for sure. I think it's who's on the cover this year. I think it's the Ravens quarterback is who's going to be on the cover because Mahomes supposedly broke the Madden curse last year. You've heard about the Madden curse with the PlayStation game. So
yeah. And now they'll, with college kids being able to make money off their images, we'll probably see names and numbers on the back of jerseys for
college is going to come back. It was big, if you remember, before Ed O'Bannon started the whole thing about not getting paid, and then EA Sports had to stop making that college game was awesome. The college football game for PlayStation was great.
That's when I stopped. My video game life was that college was amazing. It was fun.
It was, and now they need to bring back EA Sports needs to get Tiger Woods back on the payroll and bring back Tiger Woods Golf.
Yeah,
because
I remember
awesome.
that game too. Yeah,
it was great.
How long ago was that? How many years ago was that?
God, it was like they
15,
had
20
something. I don't know if it was that long, but they had Rory McIlroy. His game afterwards was garbage, and then they haven't had a good game. They haven't had a good golf game since, so they need to bring that back. Tiger, by the way, making his debut tomorrow at Memorial. So
yeah, everyone's coming back. They all want to take on Bryson. They're mad Bryson got so big and hits the ball so far. So I think everybody's playing. Did you see Dustin Johnson?
Yes.
He said he's not worried about the long ball. Of course, he hits it a mile himself.
No. Well, okay. First of all, you don't need to be worried about Bryson DeChambeau. Okay. All right. I know everybody's all big on him. He bulked up and he can hit the drive. All right, win a major and then come talk to me, okay, Bryson?
Well, the competition's been pretty weak so far.
Exactly.
Right?
Thank you. You're the first person that said that I finally agree with. Thank you, Kevin.
Yes, this will be interesting to see. All the big boys are going to be out this week.
Exactly.
That doesn't mean Bryson won't do well. I mean,
listen, he's a good golfer, but you know who I compare Bryson? We talked about this on
John Daly.
No. Do you remember the movie The Social Network? About Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember the Winklevoss twins? That's Bryson DeChambeau. That's him. He is those guys.
So did the other golfers not like him? I noticed.
I know he's friends with Tiger. Okay. And I don't know if the other. He just strikes me, and I have not talked to him. I have not interviewed him.
Yeah.
Because I used to cover like the Buick Open and stuff like that when it was in town. He just seems to me like he's just one of those guys who's just. I grew up in the Hamptons, and I'm very analytical, and all my golf clubs are the same length, and and it's like, okay, cool.
He has those high hands when he hits. It's screwing up golfers everywhere. Everyone's trying to raise their hands, thinking that they're going to hit the ball farther, and they're hitting it into the woods.
My brother went and tested out the Cobras. They have sets that are all the same length.
Mm-hmm.
So your 5-iron is the same length as your 8-iron. It's the weirdest thing ever.
Yeah,
they're very heavy, and it's just weird. Where do you stand? How do you where do you put it in relation to your front or back foot? The whole thing's just weird to me.
It's like quarterbacks. You don't change up. However they learn to throw, that's how they need to throw. You can improve their style, but golfers, whatever your swing is your swing. You have clubs to adjust to the swing.
.org/pure
right. I don't know. He annoys me though. He just annoys me.
Now back to more Paul W. Smith on WJR. Once again substituting, here's Kevin Dietz.
We can never say enough about the heroes who have been on the front lines in the battle of COVID-19. There have been efforts to get some of these heroes some hazard pay, and not just in the big cities, but in the smaller communities as well. And joining us now is a special guest, Joe O'Mara, who is the county commissioner in Sanilac County District 3. Joe, welcome to the Paul W. Smith Show.
Well, thank you, Kevin. I appreciate you having me on.
Yeah, we're glad to hear from you. So, Joe, for people who aren't familiar with District 3 in Sanilac County, we're talking about the Thumb area, right?
Correct. Yes.
Can you pinpoint it for us a little more? Where are we, say, in comparison to Bad Axe or some of the big cities in the Thumb that we're familiar with?
I don't think there are any big cities in the Thumb, but we're north of Port Huron, right on Lake Huron, from Lexington, in that area, Croswell, Lexington area. And I'm currently in the harbor of Port Sanilac because we don't have sufficient internet or cell phone service up here. It's very limited, which is another issue.
So safer to say a little more rural than Wayne, Oakland, or Macomb County.
Sanilac County is the largest county in Lower Michigan and one of the least populated and one of the poorest.
Yeah,
for sure, one of the poorest.
Beautiful country. I've been up there many times. So we're talking about hazard pay, and we're talking about Bill 690. For our listeners who don't follow, what is Bill 690, and what was its original intent?
Well, Bill 690 took the federal funds that were granted to Michigan, about $880 million, and then they figured out how they were going to spend that money. And a lot of that is now going to go to first responders, restart, businesses, and direct pay for the healthcare workers. And some of it's going to go to distance learning for kids, which is a challenge up here because we don't have much internet at all. So that's a real challenge for us during this pandemic.
So as you looked at the bill and looked at what was happening with the federal funds, what did you decide to do, and how did you go about making an impact?
Well, I first started pushing for some hazard pay back in May through the county, and I was surprised. I met a lot of resistance. People were saying that it's, this is what they signed up for. It's like tipping the waiter before the meal's over with. It was kind of absurd, and it got a lot of attention. And I really feel strongly about public safety. I think it's public safety and good health care. It's one of the pillars of having a stable society. So I really wanted to push because this was something that was unprecedented, and there was a lot of emotion. And then it, with everything that was happening, the police coming under fire, not in our communities, but, elsewhere, it creates a lot of stress. And I thought something like this, though the amounts are insignificant compared to what they're doing for us, I thought it'd be good to show them something, some sort of acknowledgement of the sacrifices and acknowledge their commitment to their jobs. So I pushed really hard. And go ahead.
I was just gonna say, what were some of the suggestions you made for changes to the original plan?
Well, and then the Bill 690 came out, and which had a specific provision for hazard pay, both for healthcare workers and first responders, but it required that we first pay it out, which was okay, and then get reimbursed, which is okay for the county because we have, a small budget for $15 million, which is nothing. But in like our smaller communities, they simply don't have an extra $20,000 to pay out for the first responders. So I thought that was unfair because basically most of the counties north of 46 would not be able to participate in this relief fund, these funds that were coming available. So I wrote the legislators a simple little 1 or 2 sentence suggestion that rather than having them have to pay it out first, they don't have the money. The county doesn't have the ability to front everyone in the county the money, that they just changed the language so that the smaller communities could just make a commitment to pay and that they could get the direct payment without having to send the funds out. And they changed the bill accordingly. And I was quite happy with that.
Wait a minute. Government listened to a suggestion that made sense and then they acted on it?
Yeah, so I'm very happy because a lot of the, north of 46 in Michigan, there's a lot of small communities, and now, the first responders will get those families will get an extra $1,000,
And
yeah,
that means a lot. That means a lot to them up there, doesn't it?
it certainly does. $1,000 is a lot of money up here.
Yeah. Okay. How are things going up there? Are you guys feeling a lot of the same concerns we are in the bigger communities?
Well, yeah, of course, but we've done a really great job. Our police, they've done a great job. The correction facilities, we've had 0 COVID cases in the jails or in any of the long-term care facilities. We've actually done an outstanding job. Our health department, Dr. Hammett has done a wonderful job, and so has Brian Wilkie and Sheriff Benecki. They're not lucky. They're very, very good up here. So yeah, we've been fortunate. We've had a very low number of cases, but I think today we're at 53. So that's pretty low.
Maybe that's why you didn't want me to pinpoint exactly where you were. You don't want everybody from Southeast Michigan shooting up to the thumb and bringing COVID up with us. Joe O'Mara, County Commissioner, Santa Clara County. Thanks for being on the Paul W. Smith Show today.
Thanks, Kevin.
All right, stay safe up there. We'll be back with more of the Paul W. Smith Show after we check in on weather and traffic with Dana Clark.
This report is sponsored by ExpressPros.com. Looking for an easier way to find your next job? It's time to get to know Express Employment Professionals. Visit ExpressPros.com to find one of over 830 locations to help support your workforce needs.
Earlier accident in Detroit. Kevin is clear from the Lodge northbound at 10 Mile. Now, WJR Weather First from the Weather Channel, sponsored by the law firm of Victoria Divorce and Family Law for Women Only. Family members and friends, pass this information on to your loved ones. Asset protection, best interests of the children. The conversation starts with a law firm of Victoria. Call 248-723-1600, victorialawfirm.com.
In good shape today, but rain rolling in later tonight. A few clouds around this morning, sunshine and a few clouds this afternoon, up to 89. That rain starts coming in after midnight tonight, 71 degrees, maybe a quarter of an inch of rain. Some scattered showers and thunderstorms tomorrow, high 84. From the Weather Channel, I'm meteorologist Ray Staging on News Talk 760 WJR.
For more than 81 years, Blue Cross Blue Shield of Michigan has always stood with their members.
Hey, Kev.
Hey, how you doing? Do you mind getting me a pronunciation? Is it brulee, you think, or brulette?
I will get it for you.
Probably brulee, probably.
I think, let's see here. Okay, so he's on the line. So Brian will, Brian take me out for 1 second. He's getting a pronunciation right now.
The suspense.
Yeah, right. He's on the phone. He might not be talking. He might be talking to somebody else.
Yeah.
I'll get it. Okay. I'm going to go. Hold on. I'm going to go find out.
Okay.
Okay, it's Bruyette.
Bruyette.
Yep. Bruyette. Yep. We're coming back in about a minute. A little bit behind the scenes for you guys on Facebook there.
That's right. They're all like, just look at the spelling. It says it's as it
Right.
looks.
There you go.
Well, then when I butcher it, they'll be like, wow, they found out how to say it and you still butchered it.
Exactly. Right. It's not as easy as you guys think.
I know.
There's a lot of work that goes behind the scenes to make Kevin so good.
It takes a big team of people.
ShieldMI.com.
Now back to more Paul W. Smith on WJR. Once again, substituting, here's Kevin Dietz.
Well, this is a real honor and pleasure to have our next guest joining us. The Secretary of the Department of Energy, Dan Bruyette, is here with us on the Paul W. Smith Show. Dan, thanks for joining us.
Hey, Kevin, great to be with you.
Department of Energy seems like the right place for somebody who has 9 children. That's a lot of kids. That has to be a pretty interesting life you and your wife are leading.
That's a lot of energy, isn't it?
You must be completely drained of energy when you get to work at the Department of Energy. That's great, though. I'm from a big family. I'm one of 7, and I have 3 kids myself. It's fun to have a big family.
That's fantastic. They do keep us busy. It's been a lot of fun.
So we wanted to talk to you a little bit about electrical vehicles and battery storage. I understand. Are you coming to town? Are you coming to General Motors to bring people up to speed on that?
I am indeed. I'm looking forward to being there later today. We're going to get to town tonight, and tomorrow we're going to visit GM and the battery design center there. And we're going to share some of the technologies that we're trying to develop at the Department of Energy and learn from some of the best in the business at GM. So we're looking forward to it. It's going to be a great day.
It's really amazing how far the electrical vehicles have come and how quickly people have taken to them. I really thought at first this would be something that would, be a really, really hard sell. And I know it wasn't instant, but as of late, people are really excited about what they're able to do, their capabilities, how far they'll go. It's really pretty exciting.
It really is. And, we're developing, technologies that make the experience of an electric vehicle much like what we're accustomed to with the combustion engine. Not the sound and the roar and the things that we associate with, perhaps a C8 Corvette or some really hot vehicle. But, the experience of being able to charge the battery, for instance, in a matter of 2 or 3 minutes, which is about the same amount of time that you would spend at a gas pump. The experience of being able to go 300 or 400 or 500 miles before a recharge. Those types of consumer experiences are very important for the adoption of this type of technology into the marketplace. So that's what we're working on here at the Department of Energy, trying to improve battery performance so that it looks like, it feels like something we're already accustomed to.
And how is that able to take place? Is it the size of the battery that you can put in the car, or is it the technology of getting batteries smaller and getting more out of them?
It's a little bit of both. So what we're doing is we're looking at different materials that we make the batteries from. And what that does is it increases the storage capacity. So we're all accustomed to lithium ion batteries now, and those have done a great job powering our smartphones and everything else. And it's done a great job for introduction into the automobile business. But we're looking at that next generation. So maybe we're going to move to magnesium ion, or maybe we go to some, different type of flow battery that has much higher storage, capacity. And also, we're also looking down the road, what do we do with this material at the end of the life of the battery itself? So we're very environmentally conscious as well about what happens to the landfill or the waste product after the car is done. So it's a complicated area, but a fascinating area as well. So we're excited about it. I'm excited to see what GM's doing.
Do you have to mix in what the consumer demand is when you put this equation together? Because I was really surprised the last electric car I was in, they're so quiet. You think they're just going to sort of ease down the road, but they have some of them have a lot of power. They get up and go.
Incredible amounts of torque can be generated from an electric engine. And that's, that's if you're a car guy, if you're a car girl, if you just, you like that power, that speed, that quick acceleration, an electric engine can produce that for you. And that's, something that the consumer is not always, aware of. And when you drive it for the first time, it really does give you that surprise. Oh my goodness, this thing is really fast.
So what are some of the things that you anticipate seeing at General Motors and talking about? How much do we see versus what is actually going on in development? We talk about it at the auto shows. There's always these big reveals, and we're always so surprised. But I get the idea that they're a few years ahead of us. Back at the drawing board at GM.
Yeah, that is absolutely true. From my days at Ford Motor Company, I was always stunned when I went into the design center and I could see, what they were working on or what they hoped, cars would be in 2, 3, 5, maybe 10 years out. It's a fascinating industry, and they do a really good job of predicting where consumers might be. But there's so much work that goes on that never really gets seen. I mean, the 3D additive manufacturing that's occurring behind the scenes to make the batteries more robust, the algorithm work that's being done, the mathematical work that's being done on the microstructures of these batteries. The engineers are just absolutely fantastic. They're just, they're some of the best and the brightest in America. And, that never really gets to be on the stage at the auto show, but it is what makes everything else come together so nicely in a final package.
Detroit is so dependent on the auto industry. Do you think Michigan's economy improves as the electric vehicles advance, or do you think we get hurt for a little while as the electrical vehicle pushes out the gasoline engine?
No, I don't think the economy in Michigan is going to get hurt at all by the the adoption of new technologies or the movement perhaps into the electric vehicle area. Look, Michigan is the manufacturing capital of the world. And, as long as things are being built here in America, as long as things are being made by American workers, Michigan is going to do fine. When I was there many years ago, I was always just absolutely blown away by the amount of talent, the labor talent in these auto industries. So I have no fears whatsoever. That's not going to be an issue.
Do you know what the percentages are of people who have electrical vehicles at this point? And are there goals that we're trying to get to?
Well, I think, not goals in the sense of, a certain percentage of the marketplace has to be electric vehicles. It's a free market and consumers have a choice and they'll make those decisions on their own. But I do think, at the moment, not a big part of the overall car market. I don't know what the actual number is today, but it's not the majority of cars being sold today, but it is steadily increasing. And I think, again, as we see the performance of these vehicles increase, and as people begin to become accustomed to the experience of charging really quickly or being able to travel city to city rather than just a few miles, we're going to see an increased adoption all across the country.
Do you see politics playing a role in this? I mean, I know I guess it's not your place to say necessarily, but it seems like everything comes down to politics. Are people going to the polls? Do they have an interest in what our energy use is and where we're headed?
Well, I think what the American people care about are things like availability and price. That's really the two things that I think about as a consumer. Can I get the product, and at what price am I going to pay? And when you think about gasoline, for instance, that's what you see. You see the sign at the end of the street, the price, that's what registers first. And that's what I think, to the extent that there are, policy choices made by policymakers, it's to provide more energy in America. And that's what, our administration is what the president has directed me to do, develop all forms of energy, be it, natural gas, be it nuclear energy, be it renewable energy or hydro energy, produce all forms of energy and give consumers choices. And through that process, through that choice, through that competition, prices come down and consumers benefit.
Yeah, when I look at electrical vehicles, I've always just thought about how far can they go before I have to recharge. And at some point, I think everybody kind of has a number in their mind. If it can go a certain distance, then they're very interested all of a sudden. And the advancements have been amazing in recent years.
Absolutely. And it's only going to get better from here. So we're working at DOE our motto internally is to produce a 1,000,000-mile battery. So if we can produce a battery that can generate enough energy to drive a car 1,000,000 miles, we will have succeeded in our first goal. So that's what we're working on here.
That's fantastic. Well, enjoy your visit to General Motors later today, and we appreciate you taking a few minutes to bring our listeners up to date. Secretary, Department of Energy, Dan Briette, thanks for being on the Paul W. Smith Show.
Great to be with you, Kevin. Take care.
All right, we'll talk again real soon. Let's check in with weather and traffic and Dana Clark.
This report is sponsored by ExpressPros.com. Looking for an easier way to find your next job? It's time to get to know Express Employment Professionals. Visit ExpressPros.com to find one of over 830 locations to help support your workforce needs.
Right now, Kevin, looking good on the roadways. We are accident-free, not seeing too many brake lights out there. Keep in mind, 75 at Square Lake eastbound at Updike. That exit ramp is still closed, should be shut down for a couple of more days following that tanker fire on Saturday. Now, WJR Weather First from the Weather Channel, sponsored by the law firm of Victoria, Divorce and Family Law for Women Only. Family members and friends, pass this information on to your loved ones. Asset protection, best interest of the children. The conversation starts with the law firm of Victoria. Call 248-723-1600, victorialawfirm.com. Expecting hot and humid conditions over the next several days. Sun to start today. It's going to get hot, a high of 89. Tonight, partly cloudy, low 72. Seeing some heavy rain expected throughout the morning commute, 5 a.m. to about noon on Thursday. Clouds, scattered showers, storms may contain strong gusty winds, a high of 80 on Thursday. Thursday night's low 69. Sunshine, 69 degrees. I'm Dana Clark, WJR News with Dick Hafner in 2 minutes.
At Henry Ford Health System, we've all.
Hey, Dave, how are you?
Good job on that, Kev.
Thank you. That's pretty cool. He's a Michigan. He worked at Ford, and now he's over there, and that's cool. Wouldn't you love to just go in and see what you know how every once in a while a car will buzz by you on the freeway and it's got some paint color you've never seen before, some design you've never seen, and somebody's out test running one of the new development, one of the new cars under development. It's always so cool. I always think it'd be amazing to get in and see what they're working on in advance.
Yeah, sometimes they have that wrap on the car so you can't see the paint scheme and you see it driving down the road. I used to have a guy that I used to work with when I first started in the radio, and he used that was his job. He wrote for a magazine, and he would get all the cars like 2 weeks in advance before they came out, and he would drive them around, and then he would write about them. Right.
Did you see the Bronco launch this week?
Yeah.
That was cool. I thought that car looked fun. It's just the way I don't know if it's the way they presented it or if it just is fun, but it looks like they really thought about what does the consumer want out of this car, out of this vehicle. And obviously they got to take on Jeep, but I think they're going to have some success, and every so often something really strikes lightning, and this new Bronco could be that car. It was really pretty cool to look at and watch. I was watching on the internet some of the videos that they put out with the launch. Really, really cool.
Yeah, I already saw some commercials on television last night saying, "Come in and pre-order your Bronco for 2021." They already have commercials, so they were anticipating it. They were ready for it.
I was listening to one of the TV stations. The anchor was talking about it and said something like, and it comes in at a good price point of, I think they said $30,000 or $29,000 or something. They said, but if you gussy it up, it's like $80,000 or something.
Right.
Like this is massive. The car doubles in price. It's like what is exactly on the basic model? Does it come with tires? Does it come with
Are you the kind of person that likes to have a car with all the bells and whistles on it, or are you the kind of person who just needs the car that will get you from one place to another place and then you're happy?
So I I like the bells and whistles. I don't like paying for them up front. So I like to buy a car that has 17,000 miles on it or 20,000 miles and get more of the bells and whistles, but lose that first wave of driving. But I also have bought cars. And having kids, I bought some real basic cars. And when I get in them, I don't mind them too much. If you're not driving too long of distance, but then again, the technology is so great on newer cars. When you're buying used cars, you kind of feel like you're missing out on the latest and greatest, and in what they have to offer.
Right. So you're a pre-owned guy.
Yeah, I almost always buy a car with somewhere between 15 and 30,000 miles on them, unless every once in a while there's just some great deal or some 0% interest or something comes around and says, let's try a new car. But I always feel like those first 15,000 miles are expensive miles.
Are you always a buy guy, or are you
always? I drive till they die. I drive the wheels right off them.
So no leasing for Kevin Dietz.
No, and that goes back to that. I like to drive long distances. So if we drive to Florida, we drive up north.
Right.
We drive to Chicago.
Right.
We'd never make it on a lease. We'd be done 6 months in. We'd be at our max. So we pile on the miles and keep the cars around for as long as we can.
I always have the stress of the miles game, and I've been leasing for years, and I haven't learned my lesson yet. I just keep on leasing. But I do always have that game at the end as we get closer to it. Sometimes they have the pull aheads. Sometimes they can roll over into your next car, which just makes the payment more, inflated on the car
the
that
next
you
one.
have. Yeah. So, but I have not learned my lesson yet. I still enjoy having a car that's under warranty. I enjoy getting a brand new car every 2 to 3 years, and then I am able to get all the bells and whistles.
Yeah, I get it. I like the idea of it. It would drive me crazy though, paying for a car and then watching it sit in the driveway because I can't drive any more miles because I've maxed out my miles. So I got to call somebody and borrow a car or drive a different car that I own, and you're paying for that car and you're sitting there, you can't drive it because they only give you so many miles.
Right. Like Don here, he says he has a 2003 Pontiac Vibe, cost him just under $20K, 430,000 miles on it.
Whoa! I got to tell you, my cars typically are paid off for a good 6 years. I try and pay my cars off in 3 years. And I try not to keep a car over 10 years. So I keep my cars a long time. And the one, and typically we have one kind of newer, nicer family car that we all drive. And then I drive to work. I have a nice car. I have a Lincoln MKZ. It's nice, but it's got to be pretty close to 10 years old. It's got all the bells and whistles are broken, and it's just about ready to pick out a new car. So when you do get a new car, it's pretty exciting to see how much they changed. I'll have to get rid of all my 8-track tapes for my new vehicle.
I gotta tell you though, leasing sometimes affords me the luxury to try to maybe get a car that I normally would like to try and that I would normally not get if I had to buy. So. Yeah, I mean, there's pros and cons for everything.
Jim's saying Hertz has a good deal. I bought a car from a rental company before. The experience was fine, saved some money, but in the back of my head, there's always seems to be a smoke smell associated with a rental car. Some people smoke in them, and at certain times you feel like you can smell it. And then I always wonder if rental cars are just driven harder, like people are renting them, so they ride them hard.
Secondopinion.com.
Valid point.
And are licensed in Michigan with the
your guest is there, so you're all set to go.
From the great voice of the Great Lakes, this is Paul W. Smith on WJR with Kevin Dietz filling in for Paul.
Well, there's an election coming up in just a couple of weeks, and Michigan has sent out nearly 4 times as many absentee ballots for the August primary election than it did over the same time 4 years ago. How is that going to play out? What does it mean? Joining us on the line now is political consultant Dennis Darnoy. Dennis, thanks for being on the Paul W. Smith Show.
Yeah, good morning, Kevin. Thank you for having me.
Oh, yeah, my pleasure for sure. So this is very interesting to me, both nationally and here in Michigan, as we see how the absentee ballot plays out. It's been pretty controversial as far as people believing that it's going to create more fraud or it's going to create more participation. Some people are for it. Some people are against it. What are your thoughts as you look at the mail-in and absentee ballots?
Sure. I mean, we've seen this since the primary of 19 and then the presidential primary of 20. Since we've passed Prop 3, the number of people who are opting to vote absentee has certainly increased. And as you've mentioned, there's a bit of controversy stemming from comments coming from the White House about whether it's safe or whether it's rife for fraud. And obviously, we haven't seen any of that here in Michigan. But it is certainly something that is part of the discussion when we talk about this increase in absentee ballots.
So the Secretary of State sent out, 7 or 8 million mailers to active voters in the state, and people seem to be responding that that's how they want to vote. Do you see that making an impact on how people vote, or do they vote earlier? Do they have all the information? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, so what we've been seeing is usually there's about a 10 to 17 day window from the time that people receive their application to the time that they send their application back. This cycle, applications went out before 4th of July weekend, but we did notice that most people held on to their ballot after that, and then you start to see returns coming in after July 6th. So there's plenty of time for campaigns to reach out to these voters and make sure that they are informed. But what you see is, in a situation like the presidential primary, people cast their votes for candidates who ended up dropping out before they even got to Michigan. And then they had to either, eat their vote or request that, that they change their ballot. So there can be a little bit of, some problems when you vote early, especially in something like a presidential primary.
Just going by the eye test this year, I felt like the signs came out kind of late this year. It seemed like I'm thinking about when I got my absentee ballot in the mail compared to when I started seeing lawn signs popping up, and there was quite a delay. And I don't know if it's been the coronavirus or maybe they have been getting out as early as they have in the past. But I feel like there hasn't been a lot of talk about this primary, and a lot of decisions are going to be made. People who win their primary often are pretty much guaranteed in the general election.
Yeah, and in many of these districts, it is whoever wins the primary will be your next state representative, or whatever office they're running for. So that's true. I do think your observation is correct. I mean, this is a very strange environment to be campaigning in. There's not a lot of door-to-door activity where sometimes you can get people to sign up and grab a yard sign. It's been a very difficult environment, obviously, to raise money, which pays for the yard signs and for the mailers. So this cycle has been kind of a strange one for candidates because a lot of the activity has gone on, like most of the world, online, activities and digital outreach and things of that nature, which is not really your traditional, method for campaigning.
Has fundraising been impacted by COVID? I would imagine it would be.
It has been. When you look at the balance sheets for a lot of these candidates running for the House seats, their cash on hand is far below what we've seen in competitive primaries in the past. Again, if you're holding a digital fundraiser, it's certainly not the same as meeting in person and having an opportunity to talk to the candidate one-on-one. So yeah, I mean, everything has been impacted. by the virus and how it's affected all of Michigan. So yeah, we're not immune to it. Candidates aren't immune to it. It's just been a really odd cycle, but that in turn is why I think you're seeing a lot of these large numbers for the absentee ballots, because we expect of people voting by absentee will be significantly more than those voting at the ballot box in August.
And you think that's because people are afraid to go stand in line, be close to people, not be able to socially distance, because direct concerns of the COVID virus?
Yeah, there's certainly that aspect. There's certainly that element of voters who say, "Hey, I've got this, perfectly legitimate option to vote, and who knows what it's going to look like in August." At one point we thought the numbers were dropping, and now they're increasing. So I want to make sure that I do vote. It's an important aspect of civic life, so I'm going to do that. But I'm going to do it absentee. I'm not going to go to the ballot. Now, the interesting thing is, in some ways it's broken down by partisan lines. Again, we talked about that. And so I think what we'll see at the end of the day is more Democrats casting their vote absentee and more Republicans doing the traditional method and going and voting at the ballot box.
And why do you think that is?
Well, again, I mean, the president has certainly, called into question from his perspective the validity of absentee ballots. There were Republicans here in the state who were not happy that Secretary of State Benson sent out the applications in the manner that she did. So there's been a partisan backlash against voting by mail. And so, even looking at the returns that we see now, you can see that more Democrats are voting absentee. It's not to say that the numbers as a percentage by Republicans won't be up, but I think you're going to see a huge gap between the number of Democrats who voted absentee versus the number of Republicans, and that's a direct result of the comments coming from the White House.
So do you think Republicans are worried that their vote won't get counted if they mail it in?
Yeah, I mean, there's questions about whether they will be counted, whether they'll be received in time, whether the process is flawed. I mean, that's the biggest push from the White House, that the overall process is flawed, which, in some ways is ironic, because in the 80s and the 90s, when it wasn't absentee ballot voting wasn't as prevalent, Republicans had a great ABV chase program and were able to identify their voters who had the ballots and were able to make sure that those ballots got turned in. So, it certainly was something that they did very well, a few cycles ago. And I would suggest if they want to be competitive in this November election, especially at the statewide level, that having a robust ABV chase program should be something that they really look at.
All right, the primary is August 4th. Dennis Darnoy, keep an eye on for it, and check back in with us before the vote, okay?
Great. Thank you very much. Have a great day.
You too. Let's check in with weather and traffic in Dana Clark.
This report is sponsored by Big Boy Restaurants. It's a big clucking deal. The new Dolly Chicken Sandwich at Big Boy is big in flavor. Mouth-watering hand-breaded chicken with pickles and their signature tartar sauce on a buttery brioche bun, all paired perfectly with a Pepsi. Try the new Dolly Chicken Sandwich only at Big Boy today.
Traffic First also sponsored by IBEW Local 58 and the National Electrical Contractors Association, NECA. Put the expertise and skill of NECA signatory contractors and IBEW electricians to work on your commercial, public, industrial, or residential construction project. Safety and proper PPE use matter more than ever. Start safe, stay safe. www.poweringmichigansfuture.com. New accident along 696 eastbound at DeQuinder. It is blocking the right shoulder. Also a collision reported in Plymouth Township. This is along M14 eastbound right before 275. Seeing delays from at least Sheldon Road. Now, WJR Weather First from the Weather Channel, sponsored by Chris Furniture. This summer, enjoy spending time with your family around a new dining room set from Chris Furniture. U.S. made of solid wood, direct from the manufacturer. Chris Furniture in Livonia on the corner of Plymouth and Farmington Roads, or chrisfurnitureinc.com.
Not too bad of a Wednesday morning. A few clouds around, nice dry pavement out there. That's going to change though later tonight. Cloud sun today, high 89. Tonight, 71, rain after midnight. Thursday, scattered showers, thunderstorms. Keep that rain gear handy, a high of 84. From the Weather Channel, meteorologist Ray Stagecom on News Talk 760 WJR.
President Trump needs a strong conservative.
Hey, Dave.
Hello.
So we're going to talk with Steve Kastenbaum at 8:18.
Yes.
Okay. Good.
Jeffrey Epstein. That crazy story. Have you watched a documentary about that on Netflix?
I did, yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Unbelievable. I mean,
insane.
The world is crazy. That's all I could say.
I know. That's unbelievable. That's an unbelievable story, this guy.
Exactly. Just get a text from somebody who is listening to us on WJR out for a walk. Said, you should drop by your house and hit your home studio for a live guest. Yeah, so I have not. Have you been following the girlfriend angle of this case? I followed the Epstein stuff so closely. It was really interesting, but I have not really followed her situation as much.
Yeah, I'm kind of in the same boat with you on that.
So she does. It's not like she can really she can offer up evidence against people who participated, and maybe she can get a better deal that way. But obviously Epstein is passed away now, and there's nothing she can't testify against him. So I'm curious if they're even interested in cutting a deal with her for information.
Yeah, it's going to be very interesting to see how it all plays out. It's all very twisted, that's for sure. It's kind of like whenever like a it's almost like when a madam has the their book gets out of all their clients and stuff like that, and that all becomes public. It's all very just weird and just
Yeah, and I was
worried.
I was wondering in this case if she was just in charge of lining up underage girls, or if she was in charge of making appointments for people other than Epstein. If she has the so-called black book or not.
Yeah, it's gonna be very interesting to see what happens.
Yeah, and Steve's great too. And these cases, I tell you, once you get following them. You get right into it. It's like when Court TV first came out, you'd start watching or like the OJ trial. All of a sudden you're just glued to this stuff. You can't believe some of the things that are going on, and it's pretty interesting to watch the cases develop.
Yeah, for sure.
And then at 8:35, you got. Dr. Kumar.
Yeah, the vaccines. Interesting story.
Yeah, I've been hearing about this. This does not surprise me, but it is concerning. I don't look. I haven't been to the dentist yet, and I need to go. I need to make an appointment and go because I missed my appointment during the COVID. But I can see how parents aren't taking their kids in for vaccinations, just worried about COVID and everything else. But but you worry about if you're not getting vaccines, or even if you're just not out and about, if you're going to be more susceptible to catching a cold or the flu or anything because you're not getting vaccinated or just not coming in contact with different viruses. We're also secluded now.
Sure.
Remember those super strains of the flu or whatever? It's like this year's flu is going to be really bad.
Right.
And I always thought, well, if you get out and get a little dirty, your body will build up some immunity to it.
For sure. What I heard about the dentist is that they're doing polishing, but they're not doing any of the anything with grinding that would put an aerosol out into the air. So
are they still not filling cavities then with the?
I just don't. I don't necessarily. I'm not sure what they're doing. I have not been either, and I think it's. But I heard from people that they're doing the cleaning, but they're not necessarily doing the little thing to maybe get the tartar out or go beneath the gum line or stuff like that.
My brother's an endodontist. He does root canals, and he's been working through the whole thing. They were emergency based because you get a root canal, you got to get it taken care of.
AARP.
And that was pretty wild working through
StoryCorps Connect. A message from AARP, StoryCorps, and the Ad Council.
Now back to more Paul W. Smith on WJR. Once again, substituting, here's Kevin Dietz.
If you've been following the Jeffrey Epstein case, every twist and turn is shocking and stunning and very disturbing. And this continues as his former girlfriend has been denied bail and will remain behind bars as she awaits trial. It's a case that we want to check in with our friend Steve Kastenbaum out of New York to talk with us today. Steve, thanks for being on the Paul W. Smith Show.
Thanks for having me. And yes, she was appearing before a federal judge yesterday here in New York, but it was unlike a typical bail hearing because of coronavirus restrictions. She appeared via a video conference hookup, even though she's being held here at a federal detention center in New York. And instead of there being people in the gallery in the courtroom, there were well over 100 people dialed into a special phone line so the press and others could listen into the proceedings. She pleaded not guilty to 6 counts of sex trafficking and perjury. The prosecution talked about how she was an extreme flight risk because of millions of dollars in overseas bank accounts, 3 passports, and the ability to evade prosecution essentially by remaining overseas indefinitely. The defense claimed that she would be easily trustworthy and would stay in a hotel with monitoring and guards, and she would put up a $5 million bond. 2 victims put in statements claiming that she was the mastermind, that she egged on Jeffrey Epstein, that she was calculating and manipulative, and they feared for their safety if she were to be free. The judge in the end said the risks were too great and ruled that she be held without bail until the start of her trial next July.
So what do prosecutors say her role was? You mentioned that the victim said the mastermind. What would her role have been in this whole horrible ordeal?
Well, the prosecutors claim that she was the one who recruited these women, that she targeted these young, vulnerable teens underage and promised them help with fulfilling their dreams, zeroing in on them, talking with them, figuring out what it was that they liked, what their hopes and aspirations were, and then groomed them, according to the counts against her, for sex with Jeffrey Epstein and others. And they claim that that Ghislaine Maxwell actually even took part in some of the acts. One of the victims claimed that Maxwell actually egged on Epstein during these sexual encounters. And there are the claims that other men were involved as well. The prosecutors in the U.S. Attorney's Office will try to get her to tell them everything she knows about others who might be culpable. And that could result in the end, if she does cooperate after pleading guilty, if she were to do that, in a reduction of a sentence. Right now, she faces up to 35 years behind bars if convicted.
Yeah, so obviously she can't testify against Jeffrey Epstein. He's dead, but prosecutors believe that she, in addition to recruiting and grooming young women, that she had access or knowledge of other participants that were involved in this, people that could be charged criminally if she were to come forward with that information.
Yeah, and she's the one who introduced Prince Andrew to Jeffrey Epstein. Andrew, despite a long time ago saying that he would sit down with investigators from a, quote, legitimate investigation, end quote, he's not done that. And the U.S. attorney, the previous U.S. attorney here, went as far as to hold a news conference in front of Jeffrey Epstein's old townhouse here in New York, and asked for the government's help and called on the British government's help in arranging an interview with Prince Andrew.
And prosecutors came pretty hard at her in this initial hearing, doing everything they could to make sure she did not get out on bond and stayed locked up. Usually that's an indication that it doesn't look like she's willing to cooperate at this point. Do you think at some point she may change her mind, or are you getting a feel yet on how the defense wants to play this? If they go to trial, do they think they have a shot at winning this?
It's really early. I mean, she obviously knows everything about Jeffrey Epstein's life and everything that allegedly happens here. And there are some reports out there that she may even have recordings. So there definitely is, on her part, an incentive to turn a government witness, because when you're facing 35 years behind bars and you're 58 years old, that could be a life sentence. So there is the opportunity for her to reduce that sentence if she is found guilty.
Yeah, a lot of high-powered names, being thrown about, and I'm sure people are going to be watching this very closely. However, typically we'd see everyone packed at the courthouse, and you're saying that they're kind of watching this on the internet.
Calling in on the phone actually is what happened. Yeah, it was an audio only thing, and it's going to be interesting to see how this plays out. Also, as coronavirus continues, because that was one of the arguments the defense made, that it would be a risk to her life at 58 years old to be in the prison system right now.
Well, we've seen so many high-profile people getting out of prison based on that same claim. It will be interesting to see which angle her attorneys take and which road they head down. Steve Kassenbaum, thanks for checking in with us on the Paul W. Smith Show. We'll be checking back with you on this case for sure.
My pleasure. Take care.
All right, thanks. You take care too. Let's check weather and traffic with Dana Clark.
This report is sponsored by Big Boy Restaurants. It's a big clucking deal. The new Dolly chicken sandwich at Big Boy is big in flavor. Mouth-watering hand-breaded chicken with pickles and their signature tartar sauce on a buttery brioche bun, all paired perfectly with a Pepsi. Try the new Dolly chicken sandwich only at Big Boy today.
Earlier accident along 696 eastbound at DeQuinder. That incident is clear. Still watching a crash in Plymouth Township, M14 eastbound right before 275. Accident has you delayed from at least Sheldon Road. Looking at a 15-minute delay for trucks along the Blue Water Bridge westbound between Canada and the U.S. And now a new accident along 696 westbound after DeQuinder. Wreck there blocks the right shoulder. Now, WJR Weather First from the Weather Channel, sponsored by Michael Perna and the Perna Team Realtors. Worried if this is the right time to sell your home? It's time to call Michael Perna. Michael Perna with Keller Williams Realty guarantees to sell your home at a price and deadline that you agree to, or he'll buy it himself. Call Michael Perna, 844-737-6276, or visit thepernateam.com and start packing. Get ready to have some heat today and also higher humidity. Sunshine to start, a high of 89, 59% humidity. Tonight, partly cloudy skies. Overnight, we'll start to see those showers roll in, your low 72. For Thursday, heaviest rain early in the morning, then clouds, and could see some gusty storms, gusty wind with those storms, I should say, and a high of 80 on Thursday. Sunshine, 69 degrees. I'm Dana Clark, WJR News, with Dick Hafner in 2 minutes.
If we're all going to be stuck in our house anyway, let's get some of those DIY.
Hello, Dave.
Hello.
Are we Dr. Banu Kumar?
Yep, that'll be next. We'll get a pronunciation for you.
It's always fun. Yeah, so what's going on?
It says here, Patrick says he's waiting for your friend to run by your window.
He said, I got a text. I got a text. It's pretty funny. He said, I'll just press my face against the studio glass.
He'll be like Ellen's producer, like the guy who stands outside her back window when she does the show from her house.
Right, exactly.
Great.
That's funny. So did you hear anything that surprised you with the in the Epstein
Not really. Everything was pretty much.
I mean, I guess I knew she was involved in recruiting and grooming. I did not know that she participated allegedly.
I had heard that, so
and I guess I wasn't paying that close attention. But the fact that Steve said she introduced Prince Andrew to Epstein.
Yeah,
and it sounds like she was like right in the middle of all of it. So,
it's that black book you were talking about. So
yeah,
who knows what names are in that book?
And how important is it to prosecutors, and politically, do they sometimes I think they protect people, when it gets that big and there's that much money flying around, you wonder if they are trying, how hard they're trying to get to the truth.
Yeah, it's a good point.
But
it's a very interesting story that we'll have to keep on keep an eye out on as it progresses.
Yeah, for sure. And then we have Chris in for Frank as well.
Yeah, Chris will be in today. Hopefully, we'll get him on the stream to do the cross with you like yesterday.
Good. That's always fun. He's we get sort of trapped on the air here and can't keep up exactly with what news is developing in the 3 hours while we're on. It's
right.
Just check in, but I'm sure he has plenty to talk about with Biden and Trump both on TV yesterday.
Right.
I'm kind of maybe I'll ask him how he thinks the debates will go. There was a study I saw, and I may not get the number exactly right, but only 54% of people thought that Biden would hold up in a debate against Trump.
Can you imagine what this debate will look like with President Trump and Joe Biden? Do you want to talk about must-see television?
Yeah, I hope they just let them have a free-for-all and the moderators don't overly dictate, all these rules where you get 30 seconds and 1 minute. I'd love to see them go at it and see who holds up and how well they do. It'd be it could be like a cage match.
It's gonna be very interesting.
I tend to think Biden won't do as poorly as Republicans think he's going to do, and I'm interested to see how Trump does because Trump has not been involved in that many debates in his life. He was not a politician prior to running 4 years ago, and he was in several debates to become president. But compared to, Biden's been in politics for what, 50 years or more. He's been in a lot of debates. If you talk, I don't know, are they an hour and a half, something like that? It'll be interesting. He makes a lot of gaffes, as they say. But I think a lot of people are going to be watching really closely to see where Biden's at and really where Trump's at too. Because he goes off script quite frequently too and gets himself in trouble.
Oh, all the time. It's going to be very interesting. I can't wait to see. It'll be interesting to see where they hold it. It'll be interesting to see who moderates it.
Originally it was going to be at the University of Michigan, and they withdrew because of COVID. And I think another university stepped up. There's going to be 3 of them. That's what I believe I read last. And I'm not sure how far apart they're going to be spaced, but that first one I think is really going to get the ratings, as they say. I think Donald Trump, I saw something. Sometimes I don't know where the headlines come from, so I'm not sure. But I saw a headline somewhere that said Donald Trump said Biden would be terrible ratings if he were president.
Right. I think that's right.
It's all about the ratings.
Everything is all about perception with President Trump. So it's going to be interesting. It's going to be fun to watch. It's going to be very lively. I think it'll be pretty good.
Yeah, I tend to agree with you. All right, so we're going to find out about vaccinations, and nobody's getting them, and what that means for Michigan. Wow.
It's it goes back to what you said before. It's the fear of going into the doctor's office.
Right.
And it's the fear of going. That's why I had a physical that was scheduled that got canceled, and then I had a telemed conference with my doctor, which was very weird.
And those things have taken off. The telemed business. They talk about changing businesses like the airlines we were earlier.
Right.
Medicine. Those doctors are going to love doing telemedicine whenever they can. That will be preferred way, and maybe for patients too. I don't know. Guess it depends on what you need done.
Well, here's the thing. You still have to go in for blood work if you have to give blood work. You still got to go to the lab, and you still got to go into the office to give blood work. So it's not 100%, over the internet.
With Roof Max, call Victor's Roofing today, 734-66-914, or book an appointment online at victorsroofing.com.
Now back to more Paul W. Smith on WJR. Once again substituting, here's Kevin Dietz.
Michigan's vaccination rates for children ages 18 and younger have dropped more than 20%, going from about 2/3 to less than half of children getting vaccinations. It's an alarming decline that has left Michigan communities vulnerable to outbreaks and other potentially deadly illnesses. It's a concern we're going to talk about now with Dr. Banu Kumar, pediatrician at DMC Children's Hospital of Michigan. Doc, thanks for being on the show.
Thank you. Pleasure.
So, I mean, just instincts tell me that parents are afraid to put their kids in the car and go in and get their vaccinations. Is it as simple as that?
It is very true, because everywhere, right, there's so much coronavirus and people are afraid. And of course, there are shelter in and stay at home orders everywhere. And so people are afraid to go. And that includes visiting their pediatricians for immunizations.
So I was talking off air with my producer saying I have not gone to the dentist yet. I had an appointment that I was supposed to have in March. It was canceled because of coronavirus. I haven't quite set one up yet. It's not that I'm afraid to go necessarily, but I'm not in a hurry to get out there in a dentist's office either. But not getting your teeth cleaned is one thing. Missing vaccinations for children is quite a different thing potentially.
That's right. I mean, just because, you haven't made it to the dentist doesn't mean that whatever germs and diseases are out there inside of the mouth, they've all gone away. Similarly, for children, it's not just the routine health checkups and making sure that everything is okay, but it's also prevention. Vaccinations prevent kids from developing those nasty diseases who we've, tried so hard to eliminate. And most of the diseases are in the United States. We don't even see things like polio and whooping cough and stuff like that very much because of vaccination. With the coronavirus pandemic, people are afraid. They're not vaccinating their children. And if they're not protected from developing these diseases, they're going to get them. And that could be very, very bad for children.
So I understand that some of the state's health organizations are trying to go to Lansing, trying to get the governor involved, trying to get lawmakers involved. What are they hoping that lawmakers can do in this regard?
You mean in terms of making it better for access?
Well, I was thinking along the lines of education. Do we need to let people know that it's safe to go to their doctor's office? Do we need to encourage people to go? What do we need to be doing?
Yes, we do need to encourage, because American Academy of Pediatrics realizes the importance of vaccination even during the pandemic. And so, AAP is strongly recommending families to go to their pediatricians. And, many hospitals and clinics are taking safety precautions, just like the stores, the essentials, we still go to buy essentials. Similarly, these are considered essential services for kids. And so physicians and clinics and hospitals are taking extraordinary safety measures to make sure that it is safe for your kids and you to take your kids to get those vaccinations.
What about just kids not seeing each other? So, schools shut down, summer programs shut down. A lot of kids are only with their families. Do kids tend to get sick more often if they don't have interaction with other children or with other people?
Well, for a short time, so long as they get to stay indoors and stuff, they don't really fall sick because they're not exposed to other kids and they're not playing with each other. They're not getting each other exposed to different germs. But that said, this has a whole lot of other problems just staying indoors because their immunity is not developing. And it's not just the physical health side of it, even the mental health. I mean, the kids need to get out there and play and exercise and socialize and learn and be educated. There's just so much that we're unable to give our children at this moment because they're stuck indoors. They're not getting the necessary checkups. They're not getting the necessary prevention to protect them from serious illnesses. And they're also not getting the learning and, the socializing and all the other sensory inputs children need to grow and live well.
And even before the pandemic, we were at 2/3 of kids were getting vaccinations. It seems like an education program anyway for everybody to understand the importance of vaccinations and how they help protect kids is a good idea.
Absolutely. And immunizing individual children also helps to protect the health of the entire community. Especially, we got to think of little babies who cannot even be immunized. So a newborn until the age of 1 or 2 months can't even get the cannot even get the shots started. And so, they have a long way to go. That they need all these booster shots. And until the kid is at least a couple of years old, they are so vulnerable to so many diseases. And similarly, there are people out there that cannot even receive certain vaccinations because of medical reasons. And so immunization protects not just individuals, but also the community. So people in the entire community get the protection they need against these nasty diseases. If we stopped vaccinating, diseases that are almost unknown would make a comeback. And we would start seeing a lot of those epidemics of those diseases that are almost under control today. And many, many children and adults would get sick and many would die.
So that would just be such a huge setback for all of us and for all of medicine. Dr. Manu Kumar, thanks for being on the Paul W. Smith Show, and thanks for educating our listeners. We appreciate your time.
Pleasure. Thanks.
Thank you. Be safe. Let's check in with weather and traffic and Dana Clark.
This report is sponsored by ExpressPros.com. Looking for an easier way to find your next job? It's time to get to know Express Employment Professionals. Visit ExpressPros.com to find one of over 830 locations to help support your workforce needs.
Accident along M14 eastbound right before 275. That earlier incident, Kevin, is clear. Still seeing those brake lights from Sheldon Road. Also a slow drive along 696 westbound after DeQuinder. Accident is blocking the shoulder. Seeing delays from at least 11 Mile. That right shoulder is blocked. Also 696 eastbound, tapping the brakes between Farmington Road down to Orchard Lake Road. Now WJR weather first from the Weather Channel.
Pretty good looking day today, but rain coming in tonight, probably lasting in through at least a part of tomorrow. Clouds and sunshine around this morning. Clouds and sun this afternoon. High 89. Tonight, rain after midnight, 71 the low. Tomorrow, some scattered showers and thunderstorms with a high near 84. From a Weather Channel, I'm meteorologist Ray staging on News Talk 760 WJR.
This is Maria Monti, tax partner for Metro Detroit accounting firm Schindel Rock, with our weekly tax tip for business owners.
Chris is in the house.
Kev,
what's going on?
How are you, man?
I'm doing well. You're still in your temporary office there, I see.
I am. Yeah, it's
still haven't figured out how to get that electrical situation under control.
My stepdad came over. We tried a few different things. I gotta have something going on somewhere. But
there's one time I had to call an electrician to come out of the house for that same reason, whatever. It just popped, the surge, whatever.
Yeah.
And they're like, look, there's a button. It's in your bathroom. It's on the outlet. You go push it in, and it'll reset. And I'm like, I've checked the bathrooms. There's 3 bathrooms. I've looked. There's no such thing as, look, we can come out. It's $150. I'm going to walk in your bathroom. I'm going to push the button.
I know.
And so I said, well, you're going to have to come. The guy comes out, and literally I had one of those things where you plug to give yourself 4 or 5 plugs instead of 2.
Oh, yeah.
Into the thing. He pulled that off, pushed the red button,
and it worked.
That's it. There you go. That'd be $150. Have a nice day.
Well, all of our like smoke detectors and stuff are on that circuit. So we took all the smoke detectors down. We switched the breakers at the box to see if that was an issue, and the breakers were fine. So there's something screwy somewhere that is prohibiting me from being up in the office. So we'll have the outdoor scenery look.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Very nice. I had a bird fly into my window during the show.
Today?
Yeah. So, but it's off to the side there. So, but if you have a bird flying to your window, it's going to be very, very dramatic.
It's coming in hot at that point.
It's coming in hot. I may have to roll tape on your show.
So Kevin, you're saying that the GFCI switch was the one that had popped that you had to go and reset. That's it.
Yeah, that was it. Yeah.
The ground fault circuit interrupter switch.
Yeah, and I just was not able to locate it on my own because we had it covered up with another plug-in outlet, which surprises nobody in my family that I had to do that.
What's up, Chris?
What's up? How we doing?
You know,
we are keeping it moving.
That's right. That's all you can do.
Are you discussing the violence and the mask up order on your show today, Chris?
No. I mean, probably, but no, that's not the plan. We're going to talk about the governor's extension of the state of emergency.
To forever or just
forever?
August?
Forever. I mean, look, at the end of this month, she'll have been in office for 19 months. Almost five of those months will have been spent
free. That's ZipRecruiter.com
in a state of emergency with unilateral control.
Now back to more Paul
W. Very interesting.
Once again, substituting here in Dietz.
All right, welcome back to the Paul W. Smith Show. It is Wednesday, July 15th, 8:47. We are joined by Dave Rieger and Chris Renwick, who is in for Frank today. Chris, welcome to the show.
Kev, what's up?
How are you doing? I'm doing well.
Another good show.
I see you got the nice window behind you, so you don't have to give weather reports. We could just watch over your shoulder and see what's happening on Facebook.
Southwest Oakland County is looking perfect today. It's great.
Looking perfect. Thanks for those who are listening to us on WJR 760, but you can also catch us on Facebook and YouTube and get the incredible visual effects here of live radio.
That's right. Radio's changed over the years, eh?
Exactly. So Chris, Dave and I were talking over the break a little bit about the debates. We saw Joe Biden and President Donald Trump speaking yesterday. Got to hear from them and see them kind of fired up, but we haven't seen them in the same room for a debate yet. And I saw in the Washington Times that they said only 54% of voters think Biden is capable of debating President Trump. And it just got us talking a little bit about what that debate might look like, and I guess who's hosting them and how much they let them go at each other. What do you expect to see in when we get to a debate, if we get to a debate?
Well, I know that there was even some debate setting up the debates, because the Biden campaign wanted 3 debates and they wanted no control over who would be asking questions, the moderators, etc. The Trump campaign, I believe, wanted 4 debates and they wanted to choose who would be running the debate. So there was even some issues in setting up the debates themselves. No, look, I think you would see a lot of what you saw in 2015 and into 16 with Donald Trump and the way that he just carries himself in debates. And with Joe Biden, it would be, Hillary, say what you will about her, but she at least was able to speak on some things, whether you agreed or not. Joe Biden, I have real concern how he would look in a debate. Obviously, Donald Trump's going to come at him hard, but Joe Biden, he's had these gaffes in situations where it's scripted. I'm Joe Biden running for Senate. If you don't like me, vote for the other Biden. I mean, stuff like that, where it's like you're not even in a debate situation where you might have to, dance on your feet a little bit. So yeah, I'm interested. I'm very interested to get to the debate portion of all of this. And now, of course, we won't even see one at the University of Michigan where there was supposed to be one.
Yeah, I think people are really going to be watching to see how Biden does. But he debated. He was on stage here in Detroit at the time, there's 20 candidates, and it was hard to get a lot of time. It's not like a one-on-one debate exactly, but Joe Biden, obviously made it all the way through the process on the Democratic side. So he debated his way through that, and at that point, nobody was jumping up and saying this guy doesn't know what's going on. He doesn't know what day it is. He was debating and making his points and staying on point. I don't know that he's just going to fall apart up there in a debate. The guy's been in politics for 50 years. He can certainly talk,
Well, all right, fair enough. But if you may, let me put my tinfoil hat on here, because if you remember, before the primary in South Carolina, there was a mass exodus of candidates on that side of the aisle. Right. I mean, you saw Amy Klobuchar go, you saw Pete Buttigieg go, you saw a lot of the people who maybe were kind of building some momentum all of a sudden drop, and it left Biden with all of their supporters because they immediately threw their support behind Joe Biden. So I would Joe Biden have won South Carolina and the primaries he did afterwards had they not thrown all of the support behind him and left Bernie in the dust? I don't know. I mean, I don't know. But when you're talking about a one-on-one discussion of ideas and concepts and policy, both foreign and domestic, it would be it would be must-see TV.
Yeah, it almost seemed scripted that Biden was going to be in and everyone was going to immediately drop out. Which
I'm not saying it, but I'm saying
time, it made me write down everyone's name to see what jobs they would have in the future if Joe Biden were to become president. It was definitely interesting to watch. The debates kind of blend together for me a little bit, but I do remember like a couple of the debates where Joe Biden was like waving his hands, like let me say something, let me talk.
Yeah.
I was the vice president. Can I get a word in here edgewise? Yeah. So I don't know how many minutes, and I do remember we were calculating how many minutes each candidate got because it was hard to get to know some of the people that we didn't know very well. But clearly, a one-on-one debate would look a lot different. Dave, what do you think? Are you looking forward to this? Is this a must-see TV?
I am looking forward to it. Kathy, no, I'm not falling asleep. She asked on the Facebook if I was falling asleep. I was just listening to you guys, both you guys talk. No, I think Trump is going to be highly entertaining. I don't know how entertaining Biden's going to be. But I think it's going to be must-see television. I think the ratings for these debates are going to be huge. If there's 3, if there's 4, who's going to moderate the debates, what channel they're going to be on, where they're going to take place, social distancing. Here's the question I have. Will they or won't they come? Will they both come out wearing a mask? Will Biden come out wearing a mask? Will Trump not come out wearing a mask? What do you think, Chris?
Well, I think I don't think either will be wearing a mask because I think they'll be in probably TV studios and they'll be, social distance. They'll have the podiums farther apart. No, I don't anticipate. I mean, unless they do decide to have these at places that were predetermined, like the University of Michigan before they dropped, and then they'll just, they'll have to work in social distancing with people and make sure. No, I don't anticipate a full blown debate with masks on.
I think that Biden will walk in for the handshake with a mask on, and I think Trump will not have one on. And
they won't even handshake.
I don't think. Will they fist bump? Will they elbow
wave,
air high five?
Yeah, exactly.
Probably just wave. Yeah. I do think Biden will have that. I think Biden will pull a mask out at some point in the debate and make some issue of the mask. The mask certainly seems to be a political object. People are taking sides for sure.
Yeah, no doubt. And I don't think that's going away. I mean, we talked about it at length yesterday. And we had Sheriff Anthony Wickersham out in Macomb County on, and he's like, look, I just can't, we can't adhere to this executive order. We don't have the manpower to do it. If somebody calls us and they ask somebody a business asks a patron to leave and they won't leave, we'll handle it as a trespassing situation. We'll diffuse the situation. But no, we can't be handing out $1,000 fines and misdemeanors for this. And I asked him, I asked if the governor's office had any sort of conversations with law enforcement in the state. And he said, no, they hadn't had any, just in terms of the feasibility of something like that. So I thought that was a little troubling.
Yeah.
But no, it's the mask thing. Well, it's not going away. That's for sure.
Yeah, it's not a good sign if police agencies say they're not going to back up a governor's executive order. However, Sheriff Benny Napoleon in Wayne County, he said they'll come out and give a warning, and then if the warning is not heeded, then they will, in fact, enforce the law. So looks like it's going to be community by community, case by case.
Yeah.
I'm just hoping that citizens don't try and navigate it amongst themselves because citizens yelling at each other about wearing masks and not wearing masks is not going to have a good result.
Nope. I agree with that.
All right. Well, that's it for the Paul W. Smith Show today. Chris will be listening and watching on Facebook, seeing if any of your neighbors pop by behind the window to say hello.
It's not out of the realm of possibility, Kevin.
I like it. We'll be watching. Let's check in with traffic and weather and Dana Clark. All right, Dave. Thanks for your help today.
All right. I'm sure we'll be texting later on this afternoon.
Did you have a little trouble getting a word in with Chris? Chris is so fun. He's
well, yeah. I was just, you guys were just going back and forth, and I was just like, okay, yeah, let him go. You know,
that was funny because I wanted to get your thoughts. I wasn't sure on the clock how much time we had left, and then you were monitoring the Facebook.
Right.
And was it? I can't remember. Was it Linda? Linda Kathy? Yeah.
She's like, Dave, you falling asleep?
I'm falling asleep.
I'm just kind of just sitting waiting.
Linda had her smiley face.
I'm just waiting until How
great would it have been if I had thrown to you and asked you your opinions and you just nodded out?
And I was just like, okay. Oh wait, it's my turn.
Hey, you know what? You get up early, so I understand. I can see how it could happen for sure. That's great. All right, we will talk to you soon about tomorrow's show, and thanks everybody on Facebook and YouTube for watching, and we'll be back tomorrow. We'll try it again.
See you guys.
All right.